All right. All right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. You have Wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindovermania. My name is Christian, and this is Mindovermania. Wow. I just woke up. Don't judge me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindovermania. My name is Christian, and we are doing another Pick a Card reading, where you get to choose your own intuitive messages. Today's topic is going to be, what does Spirit have to tell you for men only? So, the reason why I'm doing a men's only reading is, at first I had on my lineup of recording messages, men only, what does she feel about you? And then I realized that that's a really subjective thing, and being perfectly honest, I don't think you guys are going to watch that. Some of you might, but I have plenty of other readings that do actually focus on the masculine perspective, and I trust y'all's ability to channel and pick things on your own. So this one is going to be just specifically for the divine masculine. If I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like you guys are definitely vastly underrepresented in the spiritual communities these days, especially with tarot readings and whatnot. And I want to just give a little shout out and messages specifically catered to you guys, so that way you are receiving things from Spirit that you might not necessarily be gaining from these other pick a card readings, or again, this one's just for the boys. There doesn't have to be a bigger message than that. This one's for the boys. So today we have 4 piles to choose from. We've got the resin Celtic triangle thing here. For pile number 1, you are being represented by the Celtic resin thing. It's got music notes on the back, in case that matters. Pile number 2 is being represented by the cracked 17 cents Fate coin from the Alleyman's Tarot deck. Go check that out. That's really cool. You have the command strip, or the command hook. I'm sorry. When you get to that pile, you'll hear the story. And for pile number 4, you've got the lighter. Anyways, you guys know the drill when it comes to choosing a pile. You just use your intuition to select something, or if you're just a little bit more visual, whatever your eyeballs get drawn to first. That's usually what messages are going to be channeled for you specifically. Don't think too hard about it. Just kind of intuitively, reactively pick, and that's usually going to be your pile. If you end up enjoying your messages from me, please like, subscribe, comment down below if it resonates for you. And if you're interested in learning more about spirituality, or want a reading or channeled message from me personally, check out links in the description down below for my website, as well as finding other tarot readers that can help you on your psychic spiritual journey. Anyways, y'all, I will see you at your pile. Oh my god, this is gonna be so much fun. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 1, and this is going to be your messages from Spirit, men's edition. Yeah, so some of the messages that I was hearing right off the bat, I don't know if y'all had, like, you have a girlfriend or something like that, or maybe you broke up with someone. Right off the bat, I'm like, someone's not coming back. Okay, I'm sorry. I think you need to stop ruminating about this person or this situation. Like, I don't think it consumes that much of your life, but you're kind of like, she's coming back, or she has a crush on me, or she's like watching these tarot readings about me, and it's like, no, she's not. She moved on. She's living her life, doing her day-to-day thing. So that's just confirmation for somebody. For some of you guys with the music, I do feel like, music might have a way of sending messages to you guys. So for example, typically in the spiritual community, there's a lot of talk about you could be thinking about a person and then immediately after a song comes up that's related to that person or it just kind of hits in a certain kind of way. The real way to tell if it's a message from spirit is you're not really anticipating the song, but it comes through and it really hits in that moment. That's usually a sign or signal about that person. And I feel like you've been getting the it's over signal for a while, but you're just maybe not paying attention or not realizing and recognizing that's like a spiritual intuitive message. I feel like for you guys, you need really direct, like you have a very direct approach to life, and on top of it, you need to be directed or pointed in a specific direction, especially when it comes to your spirituality. Because right now, I feel like you guys are thinking in general, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit, or you're kind of just curious to see what I have to say. Again, take what resonates, but I do feel like you guys need more straightforward advice or something that's more grounded. So, for example, if like a tarot reader is talking about metaphors or about fluffy stuff, you're not really interested because you believe they're trying to sell you something, or you're just intuitively not in alignment with whatever messages are coming out to people. Again, I feel like you guys spirituality is not catered to men in general specifically, and again we can talk about patriarchy and misogyny and all that other stuff, but for you guys are just like, I'm just like a clear cut person who just wants to get my messages and leave and go live my life. My eyes getting drawn to my Thor hammer as well, where maybe I don't know if you guys are mechanics or you're just very earthy and you're down to earth, and I like that about you. If you like Leonard Kenny, yeah, it's that's what I appreciates about you, Katie. All right, let's get into the cards. I wish I could take back my words. I was gonna say take my words back. Um, yeah, I don't know if you said something that you shouldn't have. I'm feeling like there's like a boss that maybe you talk to in a certain kind of way and you realize it backfired at your job. Or maybe you're just someone in general that you're a little bit loose-lipped. Maybe you share secrets sometimes about your friends and family, or maybe it's not secrets per se, but it's kind of like you just open your mouth and the dumb comes out. If that makes any sense. I don't know if you guys play video games too, because my eyes getting drawn to the my Sonic the Hedgehog rings or whatever. There's just something about you that maybe you have ADHD, or there's just some kind of like you go back and forth between different versions of you at times. And you're just kind of rolling with it instead of like sitting and reflecting why you might be going back and forth like that, because I do feel your self-awareness is on more of the grounded earthy things rather than internal, or like you're not making the connection between your inner landscape and your outer world and how the consequences impact others. You know, again, with that, like, impulsively speaking, it just feels very reactionary, and you're not asking yourself why. You're just thinking you're saying it because, like, oh, that's just how I think and feel. When I'm feeling spiritually guided to be like, well, you are reacting because something's triggering you. And, like, focusing on what's, like, kind of going inward a little bit. Yeah, my eyes are getting drawn to my boy pussy pin, where it's like, maybe you're trying to avoid looking like you're a wimp or looking in a certain kind of way. There's just some kind of like a reaction that's distinctly not serving you. And so that pattern should be addressed kind of on both an intellectual level, but kind of more on a spiritual level, right? Because I don't see you guys needing to like sit and feel your feelings out or anything like that. Or I heard something about like eating your heart out. It's kind of just like your words matter. All right. And I feel like you guys don't take your words seriously, or you don't trust the impact that you have on others. That's why, like, this whole like boy pussy thing, it's being like, oh, well, I don't want to come across as a pussy or whatever. And I really don't like using that word, but I feel like for you guys, it's like you don't want to admit that some of the toxic male culture and aspects that you've internalized, that you're being impacted by them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, no, I don't care if other guys think I'm a pussy or whatever, but it's like, yeah, you kind of do, especially in the work environment. And so whenever you like lash out at somebody, it doesn't serve you for your highest good when you're not being strategic. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what does fighting with your boss do? Seriously. Like, it's not serving you because you're not arguing from a place of, we need to get this done, or I'm trying to make a point. Instead, you're like, you got to be strategic with it. because now this person doesn't really take you quite as seriously, or they just hear you doing this. And it's not all the time, because I do feel like you're respected in some ways, but it's kind of like, I feel like you guys maybe got in trouble growing up and no one ever sat you down and was like, hey, like, just because you got ADHD, it doesn't mean you're a bad kid. It's like, I just feel like there's like the world gives you very inconsistent messaging in regards to stuff, especially in terms of your spirituality. With my eyes are getting drawn to the Celtic symbol here. Yeah, Holy Trinities might be significant for you, but specifically I'm seeing Celtic mythology. I don't know if you guys are very much into like, not like Viking culture, but definitely more of like the more, European-esque paganism type thing. Maybe you're not like fully into that, but there's something about like, again, like Thor's hammer, or going out there and being like a warrior type guy. Like you're definitely in those kinds of spaces, or at least you resonate with them because you feel like it taps into a deeper version of masculinity than what you're made for currently. Maybe some of you guys work in the office, but then you're working out at home and you're sitting there going like, what the fuck am I doing? And I just want you to understand, at least from Spirit's perspective, that you're doing the right thing to question these things. It's just you're going about it in a way that doesn't serve you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to take disrespect, but you also don't need to disrespect others if that lifestyle doesn't serve you particularly. You know what I mean? Because like, just because some other guy is happy working in an office, having a wife, and doing these other things, that doesn't make him less of a man if that's his purpose. And that's where the whole like, oh well, he's just like a whatever, and like that's where I think that shame comes in, because you're not acknowledging the fact that, like, why do you give a fuck what another man does with his life? Why do you care about his masculinity? You're concerned about yours. And if that doesn't make you feel like a man, then don't do it. So why you gotta bring other people involved? You know what I mean? You don't have to be disrespectful towards other people's values and systems. Like, if anything, that's just showing you're insecure about something, right? Oh, I just dropped the hammer on you. Again, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're hung like a horse. Who cares? We ain't looking at that shit at work. I wonder if you were happy without me. Oh, some of you guys are ruminating about an ex. Yeah, maybe some of you guys deal with the whole, you're not really respected at home, or like you're happier without me. This does feel like a wounded masculine energy of feeling like the women in your lives really don't appreciate you, or it's like because you are problematic at times, you're kind of like, do these people actually like me? Sometimes it might not even just be about women, it could be about your friends too. You're kind of like, you've been kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut of kind of being like, hey, I'm lashing out at other people because I don't like where I'm going in life. I don't like this economy. I don't like what I'm doing. And this happy without me, it's like you're seeing people kind of move forward, not include you in things, or like there's just something like you're holding on to hope about a situation that's not worked in your favor. And like there's two issues with this. Because on the one hand, you're not taking the appropriate, like you're not having the appropriate responses to the situation, and you're blaming being a guy instead of not being mature, if that makes sense. And I think, like, to me, it's like I kind of wish you guys valued your masculinity a little bit more, and maybe some of you guys are shocked by that, but it's like your version of masculinity isn't rooted in security. That's why all these people are affecting you that way. Like, if you're constantly afraid that someone's going to be calling you a pussy, then you're not getting anything done. You're not focusing on you. You know what I mean? And without me, like, you're making decisions without your authentic self at the wheel. That already tells me you're not in your masculine state, because you're not taking charge of who you are and who you want to present as. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the idea of like, well, I was direct, but you came across as rude as a douchebag, and you're trying to backwheel and justify it, but you're not making sense. You know what I mean? Because like what you were trying to say was, I want control over the situation, or I wanted to express my thoughts and feelings without repercussions. And so to me, there's something about like you're not understanding that if I do A, expecting B to happen, but if C happens, I get upset. And it's like, well, that's life. You know what I mean? Like, not ever, like, doing A isn't always going to result in B. What happens if D happens instead of C? What if something better happens? You know what I mean? But you guys are always anticipating that you have control over the thoughts and feelings and opinions of people around you just because of your masculinity, and that's not how life works. You know what I mean? Just because, like, for example, like, I feel like with women, you're used to women putting on a show for you. So when an honest woman comes along and doesn't put on the performance that you're used to, you shut down. And you're like, they're speaking out against me. And it's like, well, yeah, because this doesn't make any fucking sense. And if a dude told you that, you wouldn't react the same way. You know what I mean? Saying, and like that's why, like, to me, there's like a structure here and power struggle that you're having inwardly because you're not able to take a hit in things that don't fit into what you were either raised with or what you created within your inner self. You know what I mean? And so I just want to say you guys are stronger than that. You're better than that. And like I said, like, to me, it's like, why are you taking a chunk out of your armor because of what other people think and feel? That's not coming from a secure place. I know that I crossed the line with you. Yeah, some of you guys, you're intentionally antagonizing people, hoping you get attention. And maybe you're not even realizing that's what you want. You just want attention. Or, like, you guys are just kind of bored. I don't know if, like, sometimes you troll people. I see a little bit of, like, a smirking energy where you kind of like to make fun of people or you're a little sassy. But with, like, crossing the lines, like, you know what the lines are. You know what the boundaries are. But you don't understand why those are boundaries. And I think it's because you don't care if you get hurt because you're kind of taught that I'm supposed to just never get hurt, which isn't true. And I think that's where dudes kind of lie to you. I feel like you're around also men, pile number one, that put on a front that they're tougher than they are. So that's why they spiral out when certain things happen. And you're used to thinking that's normal, when in actuality, that's not being a secure man. You know what I mean? Like, the crossing the line, like, what lines are you drawing? And does it matter? Are you doing it from a place of ego, or are you doing it because this is your belief system? You know, like, it's kind of like towing the line and, like, looking out for your bros, but then you're going back and forth between, like, well, my girlfriend feels this way, and I want to do this to support her, but then my family thinks this, and whatever. Like, you're not focused on yourself in your own value system. You're not standing in your own truth and what your heart's telling you. And with you, if you're believing that that woman is where you're meant to be, then why are you questioning all this other shit? Because it's not like she's doing anything. That's you telling you that this is what's important to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about, like, I think you misinterpret men's signals around you because you're not realizing that what they're doing is they're also performing. Versus you're kind of a little bit more down to earth and legit. And I think that's why maybe some of these toxic masculine messages came through and hurt you, because of the standpoint that you're not recognizing that, oh, these guys are fakers. And as you put it, like, you're like, oh, well, they're like a pussy. And it's just like, I mean, yeah, okay, putting on a show and doing some of this dumb shit, yeah. But, like, in general, though, I feel like you gotta put the hammer down at some point on who you want to be, who you are and who you're not, and what you want to provide and show to the world as who you are as a person, and not make it contingent on what other dudes think about what's going on in your pants. Because beyond that, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? I'm sorry, you guys are more secure in yourself than that, but, like, if this message is making you insecure, then ask yourself why. Isn't this what every dude's dream is to be independent and doing whatever the fuck he wants? Because clearly you're not. I'm becoming a better person. Yeah. So I think, like, as a result of a situation, you are trying to improve yourself. Maybe you're having a hard time discussing things with women or people in general. And so you're trying to just be like, how do I fix what's going on inside of me? And I think, like, already by asking that question, you are doing better than, like, 90% of the population. So, but what's your spirit guide's kind of saying is, like, focus on being a person first and a man second. Because right now, I think, like, when you start clearing out the stuff that is really kind of meant to hold you back, because here's another little secret that I'm being told to tell you. Some of this toxic masculine shit, like, really or I shouldn't say masculine, toxic men intentionally feed that shit into the stratosphere to cause you to get off kilter so then they can get their way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like these dudes are out here intentionally, like, trying to hype you up. A lot of the people that feed into toxicity and shit, they want you to feel insecure so they can win and have a leg up against you and have power over you. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you're giving power to people that don't care about you, that don't want you to succeed, and actively want you to fail. So to me, I'm like, so then why are you not listening to what your body's telling you to do? All right, let's get into more of the cards. Let go of the outcome. Yeah, just start making decisions without focusing too much on your strategizing, because I think some of your strategizing isn't working right now, and like the outcome, you're a little too focused on that because you want to have control. And again, because you don't want to look like a failure, you don't want to put on, like, you're trying to put on a show instead of just being like, just let it go. Understand that, you know what, if you try starting a company and it fails, okay. Accept the fact that you're a human being, that you're not always going to have control. And yeah, you could have done better, but you didn't. So learn it, take that lesson, and then move forward. You're getting too hung up on what is this ego thing and what other people think and feel about my failures and about what does that mean for me as, again, a man, when it's like, what does it mean for you as a person? You failed at something. Get over it. And I'm not saying that from a way to be like harsh and telling you to not care about your feelings, but it's kind of like you're in your feels from a shame place instead of being like, dang, like, it sucks that thing didn't work out. Okay, but I'm gonna move on and understand that I'm not gonna let myself get hurt by these types of people anymore. I'm not gonna invest in that thing. I'm not gonna go and work out that way anymore. Like, maybe you hurt yourself working out and now you can't do certain kinds of lifts or something. Let it go. It's like some of the stuff you couldn't have prevented anyway. Fear is dead and I'm on top of the world. Okay, so this is a quote from my book that I'm writing. Where the protagonist, Matt, he's the frontman of this rock band, and everything's about to fall apart, right? With the band, like, his drummer's like drunk as shit and they're about to do their biggest performance ever, and the drummer fucks up. Okay, because they all agree to something on the performance that they're not going to do it because the drummer's drunk as fuck. So then at the last minute, the drummer, not remembering the conversation, throws a drumstick at the frontman's head. And the frontman's doing his thing, and all of a sudden, he catches the goddamn drumstick without even realizing it. And it looks cool as hell in front of everybody. And he did so well at this performance that despite that there was a fluke, he ended up handling it really well, and then that's what led them into getting famous. And so this is the quote of what he's feeling, is he's like, yeah, I've got this inner dragon inside of me, I've got this fire, and he's like, I'm on top of the world, and fear can't stop me. Like, he finally overcomes his fears of singing and being a leader and all these other things. And I want you to just sit and embrace that energy for me real fast. What would you do if fear was dead and you were on top of the world? Would you really care about what your boss said that one time that you took as a slight? Would you care about this ex-girlfriend who was using you for money? Would you care about that girl who actually gives a shit about you? What's the difference? You know what I mean? I'm on top of the world. You know what I mean? Like, what does that actually feel like that's not based in insecurity and not based in what other people think and feel about you? Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay, what turns you on, babe? It's not a prank. Yeah. Like, what turns you on? For reals. And that has nothing to do with dudes' opinions. What's your sexuality like? Have you ever even explored that? Do you just do missionary because that's what you think a girl wants? Do you think that's what men do? And you never wanted to try something non-vanilla? It's not a prank. I don't know if you guys, like, really don't believe when women like you or when women are excited about things that you do. There's something about it's not a prank. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think because, again, you guys are a little bit of trickstery or whatever. I'm hearing the word babe. Like, oh my god, I'm thinking about someone so obnoxious. Where they're just like, hey babe. You know what I mean? Hey babe, like, whatever. And you're used to dating superficial people because that's what other men tell you should be dating. I don't know if you actually like these girls or not. And you're like, well, I like their body, but maybe our friendship, but I don't like our relationship. Yeah, there's something about, like, you guys don't... I don't think you guys have actually dated and gotten into a real relationship with a woman before. I think you're kind of just following through the motions and seeing what your friends are doing. And that's why you keep dating other women who do the same thing, where it's just kind of a social performance, or it's about money, or it's about, I heard something about transgender. I don't know, like there's just something about like you're not getting pranked by real people. If anything, real people are walking away. And that's why you're becoming a better person, because you're tired of people, like decent people, walking away from you. You know what I mean? And it's just something about like maybe you ate shit and you just don't understand why or what you got to do to get out. You've accomplished so much. Congratulate yourself. Yeah, I don't think you guys hype yourself up enough. I think you're relying on female validation at times. And you think that like, okay, the world operates on the fact that I make X amount of money, I do this cool thing, I get women, I get sex, I get a wife or I get a partner, and then the cycle continues, and I have to continue to perform and be this person in order to be a better person for my partner. Which there's a little bit of truth in that, but like the point is though, is that if you're not cheering yourself on, like, I'm immediately thinking of Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? Where he has, like, a mantra and hypes himself up every single morning. You gotta be your first cheerleader, dudes. Like, come on. Like, what kind of an ego trip do you gotta be on that you only need to be relying on other people hyping you up? Who took away your self-esteem that you can't say, hey, you know what? I am fucking in charge, but you know what? I'm in charge of my life and what I do, think, and feel. And it's because I'm awesome. Not because I'm better than other people. It has nothing to do with other people. It's just because I'm awesome. I'm getting like the Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, I'm the coolest. Yeah. But like, again, like there's a huge difference between the dudes that are doing it because they're secure in themselves. And that's why they have the better girlfriends. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, because the girls know it. They don't want to put up with this fake ass shit. You know what I mean? Like, and like, stop messing with fake people, man. Like, come on, you're better than that. I want my family telling stories about how beautiful our life is. Ooh, yeah, you guys want to settle down. You want a real family. You don't want like, I don't know if you guys are like, maybe you attracted a trophy wife in the past, or like, maybe you're like, I want a trophy wife, and then you realize after seeing what your friends are going through that that's not what you want at all. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, just because you're a guy doesn't mean you don't want to have, like, a great family life. You know what I mean? I don't know, there's some kind of, like, a disconnect where it's like, are you around women that don't, like you? And you're just used to that? It seems like it, because to me, it's kind of like, there's some kind of a dichotomy here where I'm feeling like a cognitive dissonance, where it's like, you're saying you want a family, but then you're not showing up as a family man. And then you're going, where's the love of my life? Like, what? This is life, man. This isn't the movies. You know what I mean? This isn't a fairy tale. You're not gonna just like walk up and woo her because you have accomplishments anymore. That's not how that works. And even still, it didn't work back in the day either. We didn't have these ability to have honest conversations. I'm so glad you guys are here today, because I just want to tell these guys so badly this stuff. With or without me, experience life fully. I will love you no matter where we're at. Aww. Yeah, I'm being honest, guys. Like, again, if you fumbled like a good one, like, the energy that I'm getting is like, you gotta experience life fully. You guys are living a half-ass life because you're not actually, like, you're putting on a performance of what being a guy is instead of figuring out what a guy means to you. And you gotta do it with or without a person. And I know there's some shame around that in terms of like, oh, well, maybe this is like a really strange thing, but roll with the metaphor. For example, if you decided to go to the spa by yourself, you're already sitting there thinking like, well, first of all, men don't go to spas and whatever. And even if you are comfortable with that, you have to sit with the judgment that other people are going to give you, being like, what are you doing as a dude by yourself getting a spa treatment? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you gay? Or whatever? And again, you're like so worried about like, I don't want people thinking I'm gay. But like, again, who cares? Who gives a fuck? I understand that, like, yeah, there are a lot of double standards and you want to protect yourself, but that's where you working on your boundaries and how you approach things is gonna matter. If you're just lashing out at people and acting like a jerk to people, then you can't come back from that. You know what I mean? It sounds like you already got a reputation where people are thinking you're an asshole, so why not sit back and figure out why? Because I don't think you're inherently an asshole. Congratulate yourself more. Maybe if you talked less shit and more positivity towards yourself and other people, then you wouldn't be so mad. You know what I mean? Like, there's a purpose to anger, but this is just bullshit. Don't go without a goodbye. I need to know how you feel. Yeah, some of you guys, you're like lurking on people's social medias to figure out how do they feel? How do they feel about me? That's why I was kind of like, do I make the reading and messages about that? But like, you got to focus on how you feel first. Because right now, you are emotionally like putting that burden on other people, or you want women to feel your thoughts and feelings. Like, I feel like you guys try to seek out women that know you better than yourself, so you don't have to do the effort of becoming better. Did I trigger a wound? How do you feel about that now? I'm saying this in jest. You know what I mean? Because I really want to see you guys do this work, because I'm sorry, you've got really thoughtful thoughts and feelings, and like you've got like a really great inner world that isn't shown any love at all by yourself, so then other people can't appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, why do I want to sit and have a conversation with you, but I gotta play 20 questions to pull it out of you? Why don't you just say, yeah? Like, again, you gotta protect yourself, obviously, and, you know, I might do a video at some point on how to protect yourself from female narcissists and abusers and stuff. But, like, if you find a girl you actually like, why are you holding back? Why don't you have lady friends? You know what I mean? Develop yourself first before going towards the girl of your dreams so you don't fuck things up again. You calm my demons. You remind me I'm not a monster inside. Aww. Yeah. You're not a monster on the inside, guys. That's just a bullshit patriarchal lie. Alright? By a bunch of insecure dudes that want you to not feel supported, to feel like women hate you. They want to have power over you. That's it. They want you to be stuck on porn, so you're not focused on making money, protecting your family. They want what you want. And they're doing a different means of survival than you are. Because you're honest. And you want to be better than them. Well, I can already tell you off the bat, you already are. So, I'm just saying. No matter where we're at, you know what I mean? Like, I just want you guys to understand that, like, you are loved by people. You are loved by women. I'm sorry, like, you guys have no idea. Behind closed doors, when women, we're all sitting there worried about you. But you don't give a shit. You don't listen to that. You think, oh, well, you're just, like, being my mom and whatever. And it's just like, do you know how many dudes I pray for? Because I'm literally sitting there being like, I already told them this was gonna happen, but you know what? They're gonna make their own choices, but by God, you're gonna make me fucking cry all the time over the stupid shit you make me worry about. And you're like, don't worry about me. I'm like, man, I know what things that are worth worrying about. Like, shut up. You guys are doing things to harm yourselves and harm other people. So what do you think is gonna happen when the consequences catch up to you? Don't act like a boy and take charge of your life. The way you smile lets me know every little thing will be okay. Aww. Yeah. Again, maybe sometimes you put on smiling as a performance for others, but I want you to understand, like, maybe you guys should smile a little bit more. I think maybe instead of trying to come across as this tough, scary person, I think you'll get better interactions with women. And also, guys. You're like, well, I'm not gay. But, like, the point is like, people like being around happy people. Because they're people. Again, like, stop trying to pretend like you can't get away from this human shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no. My poop still stinks too. Like, come on, guys. Our fights bring us closer together. I need them, honestly. Man, I'd fight y'all. Only because it'd be funny. But yeah, there's something about, like, getting closer together. Like, I think you just need to start, like, fighting back on some of these ideals. Because I think it's going to bring you closer to the people you actually want to be close to. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you've got people in your circle that are really great, but you're not allowing yourself to experience them fully. Because you're keeping everyone away. Or you're projecting something onto them. And be honest, you need them. You need people. Like, don't follow this bullshit lie that you can do everything yourself. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, technically, if you want to go live out in the woods and fight bears and shit, can you do it? Yeah, I absolutely believe in you. The point is, though, is that that's not going to be a very fulfilling life. It can be to some people, but for you guys, group number one, be honest. You like women. You like people. You need them. Not because you can't take care of yourself, because it makes life better. It makes you stronger when you've got a family and people treating you well. You know what I mean? Be honest. I think you're just not being honest about your emotional needs and the effects that relationships have on you. Like you're projecting it all onto a girlfriend instead of looking at the bigger system in your life. And you're not looking at your boundaries, you know? And if you need them so much, then why are you treating them like shit? Men deserve to worship you. They're unworthy of you. Yeah. Yeah, normally that card's for the girlies, but it's kind of like, if you're around shitty dudes, you don't deserve to be around that. Like, what are you doing? They're fucking with your head. Just because they're miserable with their wives doesn't mean that you want to be. That's how you become better, is just be like, man, I'm not like you. Sorry. Get better friendships. Stop pretending like your friendships don't affect you and impact you. Because clearly it's messing with your mental health, guys. You'll never know how much I would sacrifice just to see you smile again. Oh my god, some of you guys got women that just, like, they probably gave you the world. And you didn't give a shit. Because you're insecure about what they gave you. You thought there were lies, you were just consuming it without any regard. You were hostile. Maybe you hurt somebody and you're like, I want to see you smile again. It's like, well, take charge. Be a man again, not a boy. Because that to me, like, if you're treating women like shit who authentically are coming to you, showing you love, and you have no boundaries around that, like, where's the line? Because, like, again, I know you want to protect yourself from women that are trying to harm you, but, like, if someone's like I'm literally seeing, like, if a woman smiles at you in the grocery store, she's not trying to be mean to you. She doesn't want your fucking. She's working at HEB. She's working at Walmart. What do you fucking care if she smiles at you? She doesn't want anything from you. You know what I mean? Like, y'all gotta chill a little bit with the paranoia, because it's like, what do you think this girl's gonna do to you? Like, you guys are being bullied by your own demons, and I can make videos to help you guys navigate this stuff, but my god, like, chill out. Like, no wonder you're hurting right now. Like, that level of insecurity and containment is just, wow. Okay. It's okay to let go. You tried your best. Yeah. Admit you tried your best. Like, you're not gonna always be the alpha male. You know what I mean? Like, quit trying to always be the best at everything. Just you know what you could do? Try being the worst at something. You want to get competitive? Be the worst and see what you learn. You know what I mean? The point is that you tried. You know what I mean? And you're like, well, are they happy without me? It doesn't matter. You tried your best. Let it go. Okay? That's part of living life, and I know you don't want to let go because your heart hurts. But, like, just cry about it so you can move on. You know what I mean? Stop trying to become a better person so you can win the girl of your dreams when you can't even, like, admit to yourself that you're hurt. Because you're not holding space to let anybody new in when you're in this vibe. And you're like, I wish. Well, you gotta stop wishing on a star and start looking inwards to be like, what do I need to get through this moment? It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're okay as who you are, my dude. That's where you gotta start first. Is you gotta love yourself first. Then you build your relationships with other people. Because if you don't love yourself first, you don't know what you stand for, where you're going, and what you want, then how are you gonna find and know who the woman of your dreams is? That's not what love means, guys. I will let myself relax when I need rest. Yeah. Eat, sleep, shit, work. When do you include resting? When do you include time to get your mind off of things? Like, there's no self-care here. Or it's imbalanced. You know what I mean? You're either sleeping too much, or you're sleeping well. Like, there's something about, like, you sleep better when there's not conflict in your life. And since there's conflict right now and you're like spinning and spiraling, you have to allow yourself to relax and understand that, like, well, I can't change how what she's doing, thinking or feeling. Focus on what you can achieve right now. But, like, again, you're trying to cover all of this up with accomplishments. Being like, well, I ran the successful business, or I made this much money, or, like, I got to have sex with so-and-so, so I'm better. You know what I mean? And it's just like, who cares about them? Why are you whipping out your accomplishments when that has nothing to do with a relationship? Relationships are not meant to be won. That's where you're getting screwed up, because emotions are about feelings. And you're like, well, I don't have feelings. Yeah, you do, clearly, because you're upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop treating yourself like you're a robot. You know what I mean? You're like, well, like, feelings make me a pussy. No. Not facing your feelings makes you a pussy. if we want to get technical, if we want to start using these toxic ass terms, then yeah, eat on that. I accept others' desire to walk away from my life. Ow. Okay, so this deck, to give you guys a little context, this deck was, I literally was just writing sentences to intentionally trigger thoughts, feelings, and emotions in myself. I've used this deck for a while, and I've never hit I've never pulled cards like these that are so spot on for this situation. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. I accept others' desire to walk away from my life. Again, you are trying to control the external through validation. You want validation based off of how many people are around you, what kind of girls like you and don't like you. I think you need to walk away from your life a little bit and really reevaluate. Because if someone leaves, like, why is it personal? Why was it personal? You know what I mean? Like, ask yourself why. And understand that, you know, people are allowed to let you go and you're going to be okay. I think that's something you don't want to admit, is how do I become okay when the love of my life walked out on me, or when she cheated on me, or when he betrayed our trust, right? You have to accept that it happened. You don't have to accept that it was wrong or right. Those are two separate things, right? You have to say, it happened. What am I going to do about that? And then process the feelings. Because right now, like, again, you have this idea that she's coming back, when it's like, why? What is making you think and feel that way? She doesn't want you back. And you're struggling to accept that because that is inherently tied to your worthiness as a person. Your worthiness of a person is not tied to who you are and your values and what you have accomplished. But, like, again, retraining your body and mind to focus on accomplishments and masculinity in a way that supports you instead of actively is used to self-harm, because that's what you're doing. You're harming yourself with positive things, and you're covering it up because no one's calling you out on it, because everyone needs this image to feel secure, when it's like, no, secure people don't need this shit. I don't need to hurt others to face my insecurities. Yeah, okay. You didn't see me pull these cards live, but I didn't know what these cards were. So, yeah, that just says it all. I do not fear changes I cannot control. Well, on that note, that was your messages from Spirit. This was a great heart-to-heart I had with you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to sit and listen to this message. Please like, comment, and share if you enjoyed this message. If you want to talk about this stuff further, please book a personal message with me if you want to get into that deeper. I will eventually be having a podcast, I hope, to talk about this stuff, because I'm really passionate about men's mental health and working through a lot of this stuff. Overall, in general, just please let go. Let go of this person, let go of this lifestyle, let go of the things that are holding you back. Feel the release, and then whatever is meant for you and serve you is going to come back to you. Okay? Or it's going to remain. You know? Only let the things that will get you through and help you survive come through. I don't know, I'm seeing, like, lighting things on fire and then just letting the the things that the fire couldn't burn be there. That's for you. Again, but take what resonates. If you want to continue to be in your ego and struggle a little bit longer, take your time. But come back to my messages and you're going to know. You're going to find out the hard way that it doesn't matter what you do, think, say, or feel. This is going to be part of your process of moving upwards. Okay? Anyways, sending you guys a lot of love. I appreciate your time and energy, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Ooh. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 2. And these are going to be messages from Spirit for you, Men's Edition. So, right off the bat, what I'm feeling with y'all is I feel like you guys, you're really hopeful. Or there's something about you that you're kind of like a positive person in general. When I was tapping into y'all's energy, I just felt your heart space. And I don't know if you're like in love with somebody, or more specifically, I just feel like you have like, you're in love with life. You know what I mean? Like, you can sit there and enjoy things. I feel like you don't really get triggered by other guys like the last pile does, because you're simply just like, I'm not interested in that, and I move forward. You guys do feel a little bit more mature, but you struggle in certain aspects. And maybe it's because you're such a thinker slash feeler type. It's hard for your heart to notice what it needs. At times. All right. And there's something too about, there's something about like, he's special. I'm hearing. I don't know if you guys like, maybe, I was like, all right, maybe special ed. Or maybe like, again, like there's just something different about you. Maybe you get infantilized a lot and things like that. But with the 17, yeah, maybe you're mentally stuck at 17, or you just feel like you turned 17 and then your body aged and the rest of your mind and spirit didn't. You have internal youth going on here. Yeah, so I know you have trouble trusting. Ooh. So for some of you guys, maybe you're not really used to getting your tarot read or connecting to spiritual things. I do feel like you were maybe excluded from certain groups growing up, and so you do have a hard time trusting people. I think in general, though, you've been pretty protected. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's just kind of this general energy of you really don't know what you're doing, but you think you do, but you don't. Yeah, I think you just have trouble trusting in yourself. Because maybe, again, if you have a disability, maybe you're autistic, maybe you're developmentally, there's just something where, again, like if you're stuck at 17 and you're trying to operate the world from a younger standpoint, first of all, I'm like, well, what happened to you at age 17 that caused that to happen? And they go, oh, and it's like, yeah, that's what you should be talking about with your therapist. But I know you have trouble trusting. Trust, I think, is a huge part of your relationships. And again, I don't see you as being like the, oh, she's cheating on me or whatever. This is just kind of like you're thinking you're getting in trouble all the time if you don't do X, Y, Z. And I don't know if you've been abused by women, or just in general, I think you try to people please women because you don't fundamentally understand what you've done wrong in the past. So then you just try to overcompensate by smiling and being overly kind, whatever. And it kind of turns women off. I think they appreciate the intentions, but I think because you don't trust within yourself, what you're saying and doing, it kind of comes across as boyish. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, I gotta like go run to ask my manager or run and ask someone else if this is right. Is this the right thing to say? So then you're constantly trying to check with other people because you think, oh, well, that's the right thing to do. But it's like everyone around you is getting tired because they're like, why don't you just like evolve? Why don't you just do the things that you need to do? If you make a mistake, own that you made a mistake and then move forward. But you're like, but you don't actually learn from the mistake because you're focused on people being upset with you instead of like the skill itself. Maybe you guys struggle with anxiety. But again, like that trusting, I feel like you guys just don't trust yourselves. And my first question is why? You guys seem capable. Again, maybe you guys got really held back by either calling yourself autistic or whatever, and like again, people just see the way that you behave and they treat you like a little boy, and you, as you got older, that acting that way was no longer cute to the women around you, so then you only attract like women who mother men or abusive women, because normal women don't want to be around this because they're like, why are you asking me this? You're an adult. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of like emotional maturity and growing up that I think you're struggling with. And you don't really know where to go to have access to this information, which I appreciate you guys coming here to learn about this, because you are different, and I think that, you know, there are resources out there to kind of navigate you through this, but for men, they really don't have a lot of really honest conversations about emotional maturity for you guys. I can put a list to some different male coaches that talk about this stuff that you guys could definitely check out. I might make a blog post about it so that way you guys can refer to it. But there are people out there that can support you with develop your emotional needs. But therapy, I think, would be recommended. I see things differently now. Yeah, so the one thing that Spirit wants to congratulate you guys on is you are seeing things differently. I don't know if maybe somebody woke you up to something that you were doing in the past. You're like, wow, I didn't even think about my behavior that way. Or, oh, I didn't realize I had like hope or help out there. I see things differently. Maybe you guys also, maybe now you have glasses because you're older. But there's just something about, because you've changed, you're now able to respond to things differently. Like I was saying, is like you were kind of trapped in that boyhood mode because you didn't know how to grow up, because no one told you what to do. So you're just like, I'm just going to continue to navigate life until someone tells me what I'm doing wrong. And now you're shifting into a perspective that like, okay, actually, yeah, I do have ownership of it. And again, it's like, I don't feel like you're an adult on the inside. I mean, like, yeah, you feel like a boy, but being perfectly honest, I think that's just like a mask that you're wearing to overcome the shame and abuse that you've been encountering through a lot of your life with things. I don't know if you've just been focused on material things, or you've not really felt like you were treated like a person or a human being all rounded. Oh god, I'm feeling like all these like tears and stuff. It's like, yeah, I think like it's okay to acknowledge those thoughts and feelings and emotions, because it's like you've been treated like shit. You've been used a lot. And I think you have a lot of shame because you're like, why couldn't I be stronger like my dad? Or why couldn't I be somebody else? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it is like you're just in this emotional state of harming instead of being like, well, let's just like be objective, separate from our thoughts, feelings, and opinions about it, and be like, did I accomplish XYZ today? Yeah? Okay, good job. Leave it at that. You know what I mean? Did you get out of bed? Did you take a shower? Did you shave? Did you eat breakfast? Did you pay your bills? Okay. That's being an adult. It's not that much more complicated than that. And now again, when it comes to like women in relationships, there's a higher level of emotional intelligence that you need. But right now, I think you should be focusing on your friendships. Start by being friends with women if you can, because I think like a female friend, depending on like what kind of groups you're in, they'd be more than happy to answer your questions. All right, because I feel like, again, people know you have a good heart. And I feel like to you guys, like maybe you get crushes on your girlfriends easy just because you're like, oh my gosh, a woman that's paying attention to me. And I was like, I get it. They understand. But it's like finding like mature women that can kind of help guide you through that. I think you have more opportunities to connect to men or to women than other men do, simply because women know when a guy hates them or not. All right. And there's a lot of men that genuinely hate women, okay, and female bodied people. So it's kind of like, it's not because you act like a boy, though. Okay, so please stop that behavior as soon as possible, because I think it's going to help you out at your job. It's going to help you out in a lot of different areas of your life. Because it's also, too, like taking ownership of your life and accountability. Like, why you gotta go run for help with people? And you're like, well, it's because I want to do the right thing. That's not doing the right thing. The right thing is you supporting yourself first. And you're like, but I can't do that because I was told I was doing it wrong. And it's like, well, according to who? According to who? I mean, are you still here? Are you paying your bills? Now, granted, it's not perfect and maybe not the lifestyle you want, but like, are you doing the bare minimum? And if not, like, go talk to people about that. But like, I feel like in general, you guys like, you know what I'm saying? That's where like there's that lady abuser energy that might be in here too. Maybe you had a mom that was controlling or something. Take what resonates, because if that's not the case, it could just be fundamentally what you're thinking and imagining what women are like. You're seeing through a lens that isn't entirely accurate. Because you're dealing with all this inner distortion and turmoil. Do you feel my presence? Yeah. I don't know if maybe you guys had someone who passed away. Or there's just something about like when a person left your side or left you, you're like imagining this person. I don't know if you guys sometimes like fantasize about people who are gone or whatever. And this feels like very positive, like a positive fantasy, you know, where you're kind of like, man, I wonder how so and so is doing. And you're thinking about like the impact that that person had on you, you know, and I feel like this experience with this person really gets you in your feelings, and it's safer for you to feel when that person's around you. Now again, that feels like a definite like childhood wound, um with that emotional insecurity going on there, because to me it's like if you need another person around in order to feel safe, that's telling me that there's some trauma to work through. You know what I mean? And if you need a person around you to feel your own feelings, that should be a red flag to you and a signal to you that something's not okay, right? Because you need to be creating a landscape inside of you that you can feel safe in your body and that you can feel your feelings without what would happen if you felt the big bad feeling? Would you hurt yourself? Would you hurt someone else? Would you drink? Would you do something bad? Why can't one of your bros sit with you? Why does it have to be that girl of your dreams? Start asking why. And like, I'm already, like, it feels like my ears are popping. It's kind of like you're going to start hearing yourself talk. You're going to start hearing the things that you've been needing to hear. Because when you overcome the feelings that were big, bad, scary, and terrifying, you can connect with them. And they can actually start meaning something instead of just being a nuisance. I hope that you can forgive me. Yeah, stop asking for forgiveness so much. You're like, oh my god, this person didn't look at me or they didn't do whatever. I don't know. Like, to me, like, again, I'm thinking about someone in particular, and it's just kind of annoying. Like, it gets annoying when you're constantly asking to forgive when, yeah, maybe you guys have anxiety, but like, seriously, like, nobody is scrutinizing you that bad. This is just like terrible. I'm like literally like, oh my god, like, please stop saying sorry. Please stop asking for forgiveness. Like, it's not gonna bring me back, and if anything, it makes me want to stay away from you. Like, you can't connect with people if you're constantly like trying to like dole out, or like you're trying to compensate. Like, I know I'm a man and I'm a flawed man and blah blah blah. Like, narcissists eat that shit up. Toxic women eat that shit up, and every other normal person in your life is cringing because they're just like, why don't you value yourself more? You gotta forgive you for being a doormat a little bit, okay? Like, no offense, y'all are trying to be doormats because you think that's gonna keep you safe, and because you think that's how you're compensating for the evils that men do. Like what you do has nothing to do with other men. Same with like pile number one. I'm like, what you do has nothing to do with other men, and you're not understanding why you're attracting girls because you're not asking. like honestly, like, if you've got honest girlfriends, ask. What makes me want to be my friend? Because I do think you have women that actually are your friend. Again, maybe you do like D&D or nerdy things and you found mature women. It's just, I don't think you always understand what's going on around you. To me, it's like, I don't know, own up and start asking why. You know what I mean? Like, why do you want to live a half-assed life? Because you're, what, anxious? About what? What is gonna happen? And you're like, bad things. And I'm like, what kind of bad things? And you're like, bad things towards women? Question mark. And I'm like, are you that kind of guy? Are you gonna be beating people up and yelling at them? No. Then what's the bad thing? And you're like, well, I hurt people's feelings in the past. When? With what? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna start grilling you with these, like, start like grilling your anxiety, because some of this stuff is like just bad for your mental health. I am by your side. Yeah, you gotta start trusting that spirit is guiding you divinely. All right? Maybe you don't really classify yourself as having a sense of intuition. However, spirit is looking out for you regardless. That's why you're here. That's why you're talking to me. Because that's what I work with, and that's who I'm attracting. via my super secret mysterious ways. No, I'm not doing witchcraft or whatever. But the point is that like that's how spirit works. Is it's that divine unknown and knowing that pulls you right to where you need to be because you asked for help. So you got it. And you're just like, oh, if I wasn't such a pussy or if I wasn't such a whatever, then I'd be able to do this on my own. It's like, no, that's kind of a lie. I'm sorry, that's a lie that society says. The whole reason that society is able to sustain and do all this stuff is because we help each other and we grow. Like, you know what happens to children when they don't have parents? The way they turn into feral, like, it's really awful what happens to children that are emotionally and mentally neglected by their parents. It's awful. So why do you think you're an exception? Are you an exceptional human being? Do you really think after all the things you went through that you're going to just come out magically okay and you're never going to hurt anybody and whatever? Like, what kind of fantasy and illusion is that? That's trapped in childhood wounding. Talk to your therapist about it. Don't let your emotions cloud your heart space. Use your heart. Yeah, some of you guys, like, you need to stop judging your heart, what it wants. Like, maybe you want a family. Okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. And you're like, well, I'm a bad person. That's why I don't have a family. It's like, no, that logic makes no sense. Use your heart. Start speaking with your heart. Start being honest. That's what your strength is. And I think women appreciates that about you. That's a Letterkenny reference. Yeah, start using your heart in your decisions. Stop letting your anxiety have control and start being like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I wore that outfit the other day, or I was cosplaying this character and I didn't really feel comfortable. But you know what? I felt good. And I don't care if other people make fun of me anymore. Or I don't care what my boss says, or I don't care what this person... Use your heart and be like, is it really that important at this stage of my life to care about this shit? No, not really. It's all cringy, you know? And, like, see, you're growing. You know what I mean? That's what I don't understand, is why you're saying, like, you're trapped at a certain age mentally, when I'm like, no, a piece of you is, but not all of you. The rest of you's been learning and going along just fine. You've been having experiences. You've been growing. You're growing right now. You're thriving when you see how happy you can be without expectations. Yeah, there's something about, like, there's also, like, you thrive when you're happy around other people. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't suck at your job because you suck. Maybe it's because you're in the wrong environment for you. You're around toxic people. So yeah, you're going to be depressed and sad when you're not around people that help you grow. Get rid of these expectations that you got to be some kind of a Superman. Not even a Superman, just... Like, I feel like you wish you didn't have a mental health thing, or you weren't autistic, or you weren't XYZ, and it's like, look, you can't change who you are, so start loving yourself. And you're gonna go way farther when you start doing that, and start trying to meet the expectations of people that aren't gonna treat you right anyway. You can't change, so what you gotta change is how you approach it. If people want to be dicks to you, okay, they're always gonna be dicks. Focus on the people that do love you and support you, and then you're gonna take off. I'm sorry, like, you're gonna live a different life if you do that. Listen to their advice, it means something. That was just confirmation for what I just said. Yeah, if people are giving you good advice, use it. You know, if people are bothering giving you advice, use it. Because, people care about you. Pay attention to red flags and obstacles. Yeah. If you're seeing red flags in your office space, in your dating relationship, if you don't like talking to someone, don't overanalyze. Just go, okay, no more. Don't force yourself to be fitting into a situation you don't belong. Figure out how to make it work rationally. Yeah, so some of you guys, again, because you do get it caught in your feelings, you're not thinking things through fully. You want the fantasy, imaginary relationship without putting in the work. I know you guys seem to be rational, but sometimes your expectations of reality really aren't working out. So try to get a little grounded. Again, talk to some of your friends, talk to a financial advisor, talk to a professional. We got lists on my website of people. Pick your topic of what you want to work on first. Start with that, and then build up. One piece at a time. It's okay to accept a lie until I'm strong enough to embrace the truth. Right? If you're not ready to face something, that's okay. That's part of the healing journey. Sometimes there are big things that you can't tackle in one day in therapy. And if you gotta act a certain kind of way until you can get to a safer environment, then okay. But you gotta remind yourself, I'm only doing this to get to the safer environment. If you don't have a plan to get to the safer environment, then pause, reevaluate, and then come back. Embrace your truth. And the truth isn't as scary as you think it is. Good intentions don't mean they're justifiable, their actions still hurt. Right what I was saying before. Just because you think, oh, I'm gonna like give this person flowers, even though they're in a relationship with somebody else. I mean, depending on who you're talking to, that might not be okay. You know what I mean? And then someone gets mad and you're like, "Oh, but I was trying to be good." That learning social cues so you can understand why your behavior wasn't right. I think that'd be beneficial to you. Because again, I think you're focused on like, I'm being a good boy. Yeah, something developmentally isn't clicking where it's like it's not about your intentions anymore. Like your actions have to have results and there's consequences if you're doing things and not thinking through them and not considering other people. And you're like, well, I don't know how to consider other people because they give me inconsistent things. And it's like, I don't necessarily think they're inconsistent. I think you're just not approaching things in a way that are beneficial to both parties. And I think, again, when you slow your anxiety down or your emotional reactions and the waiting that game that you're playing to finding better, I think you're just justifying the abuse that's coming towards you. Because to me, again, if you're in an environment where people aren't telling you why something is wrong, then it's not for you. Or that person's not for you. And you're just hurting yourself by being stuck in these dynamics. Because you're not growing. And it causes you to spiral. I have to find balance in myself in order to find peace. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And then finally, I won't accept my own self-hate. Yo! This deck. Again, you watch me pull this. I'm not, like, you know, pre-selecting these. Like, I won't accept my own self-hate. Yeah. Don't be your first bully. Because you weren't. But maybe your parents bullied you, or somebody else did. You don't need to continue that shit anymore. You're great as you are. Okay? Stop saying you're wimpy and whatever. You know what I mean? Cut that shit out. Okay? That's not cool. Alright. Anyways, I'm sending you guys a lot of love. I hope this helped you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe if this resonated with you. And share it with your friends if you are working on this stuff with other people. But yeah, if you're looking for resources or what to do, please check out my website. I have a link of different professional resources that you can seek out if you're trying to better yourself. I also have blog posts about self-awareness and other things like that. Again, just find balance, guys. You're getting there. Yeah, something about the number 17. I'm like, prom king, queen, whatever. Anyways, I was gonna say something silly, but anyways, I will see you all next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 3 with the command hook. Command strip. And this is gonna be your message. So the whole story behind the command strip is whenever I select items and objects for my pick-a-card readings, you know, I try to get some variety in there. And I was trying to think, like, okay, what do I want to have for the guys? You know, because I don't want to be stereotypical or whatever, but I just want to, like, have, like, a fun object, you know, that makes them kind of feel seen or whatever. And immediately I was, like, walking into my living room, and I was just like, command strips. I was like, that's like the manliest thing I could think of, and I was just like, oh my god. What? And then I just realized it's just kind of one of those things that, like, yeah. And maybe it's because it looks like a little penis. I don't know. There's just something so dumb about the command strip, and that's why I picked it. But anyways, yeah, welcome to mindovermania. We do things, we sell things, we have shits and giggles, I don't know. Yeah, so anyways, messages from spirit. I don't know if y'all don't take tarot reading seriously. I'm definitely like there's a lot of laughter, so I think you're just gonna be like, I don't know if you guys were intending to like come in and make fun of me or just have a laugh in general. It was interesting because the last pile had that coin, and it was sitting here, and I was immediately like, these guys like money. They like money, and specifically too with like boy pussy. You guys like to bully other guys. I'm not gonna lie. You like bullying people, or there's just something about like, I don't know. You got like, I can definitely see you guys combing your hair back. You want to look good. You want to be that guy, and you're just here for the shits and giggles. Um, all right. I don't know what messages Spirit has for you guys. Because if it's me, you might get called out, but also if it's me, I might also have something heartfelt. So I don't really know where this is gonna go. I don't plan these things ahead of time because it's channeling, but I don't think you believe in that. So yeah, let's have a conversation, y'all. Let's have a conversation about what you need in your life. I don't know, maybe I don't know, I'm seeing like a group of guys that's watching this right now. Like maybe you guys are like, oh, this is bullshit, or you're like you heard about me, or there's something, and then you guys are like, oh, I'm gonna test this out for myself, and then you're like, all your bros are like sitting around a computer, and then you go, what, bro? That makes sense, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello. I don't know if you're coming from the future too, looking back and being like, I want to find something. And then you chose the command strip with your little. I'm hearing raise your donger. Oh god. That's old internet. Please get off the internet, children. I learned bad things in order to survive because I wasn't safe. Starting off with the mommy issues. If you're trying to troll me, I got some news for you. This is not gonna work out well for you if you're live streaming this shit. Okay. I learned bad things in order to survive because I wasn't safe. Okay, so basically, I feel like you guys really try to put on this like bad boy persona because you have some deeper inner work that needs done because you're insecure. I think it does help you survive in toxic boy environments because, you know, especially like if y'all are picking on each other, giving each other wet willies and slapping each other upside the head. Yeah, you're gonna perpetually be in this boyhood phase. The only problem is when you become an adult and you want to make money and you start like wanting to settle down and have kids and get married. Like some of you guys never grow up, okay? And that's why you resonate with like maybe I don't know. Oh God, I hope you guys don't watch Andrew Tate. Jesus Christ. I'm like grow pair, but like again, maybe because you're younger mentally or you're just trying to survive, you're like, well, this is what all my friends are doing. Or like this is what is good for me when I'm like good for who? Good for who? You know what I mean? I think you guys get scammed by get rich quick things or like you're the type of people, the type of dudes that you love learning about crypto because you think it's going to make you wealthy and famous or you're going to like do all this cool shit and you don't actually know anything about money. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I have a degree in finance. I'm one class shy of a whole accounting major and IT. I've worked in data analytics and project management. So like they're like, I'm not safe. Oh no. Like I know you're not. You're I'm coming for y'all. Um yeah, I wasn't safe. You know what I mean? Because like to me, especially like people like Andrew Tate and all these other finance bros and whatever, like they're making money off of you. These people don't know what they're doing. Some of them do and some of them don't, but they're all intending to scam you guys cuz you're a little rough around the edges. They know you're insecure. They know you don't know your body very well. They know you're like you want to be influential because you feel scared. You don't have control of your environment. You can't get the girl of your dreams or whatever the heck insecurity. And again, they're like, because you're too afraid of looking and acting like a pussy, quote unquote. I hate using this word. Why are y'all making me use that word? I guess it's the theme for today. But yeah, you guys are so insecure and afraid of looking weak that you just play right into people's hand. This is funny. I mean, like, kudos to these guys that are making money off of y'all, because y'all be tripping. You're dumb. And not because you're intellectually stupid. I mean, sometimes yeah, but like in general, it's because you're weak-willed. You care too much about what other men think and feel. And then you're just going along thinking these bros are like looking out for you when they're just making money off of you. Dummy. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, you guys, you picked the wrong day. The wrong day and time, the wrong tarot reader. Hella. Alright, I can support myself mentally, emotionally, and physically. No, you ain't. No, you can't. Because why are you relying on a dude who was charged for human trafficking to make you feel secure? Why aren't you doing this by yourself? Did you not have a daddy to tell you how to protect yourself physically? Are you afraid of getting beaten up by other guys? Yeah? Okay. I think that's a fair fear. I don't want to be beaten up. You don't want to be beaten up. Nobody wants to be beaten up, guys. Unless you got a fetish. And even still, a lot of those dudes are lying. Because they were... whatever. That's their coping mechanism. The point is that if you want to be powerful, if you want to have strength and security, you got to be supporting yourself. And you got to stop looking externally for these things. This is what spirituality is about. No, I'm not a tarot reader that's here for the girls and stuff. I'm here for you guys too. Because this is about spirituality as a whole. And it's about coming back to yourself, going back inwards, and oh god, like, I'm literally like, if you guys try going inwards right now to address your issues with your masculinity, it is all just churn. Maybe you guys have stomach problems. Maybe you've always been like laughing about your digestive issues, not realizing that that is a physical manifestation of being afraid. Maybe some of y'all were sexually abused as kids. I wasn't safe. This is why you're lashing out at society, lashing out at girls. This is why you want a girlfriend. I don't know, maybe some of you guys with your bros, you know, you're like all hot shit, and then you get with your girlfriend, and then you just cry all the damn time. And then because you can't face that fear of your guys finding out, you sabotage the relationship. You act cold towards other people, and you turn brutal. Because you can't sustain things right. I don't know, maybe this is also affecting your sex drive. Maybe you had a girlfriend that laughed at you. Again, like, toxic people attract toxic people, guys. And because you're sending, like, the biggest red flags out there on the internet to the whole frickin' world, women that are healthy don't want you. They see, like, you open your mouth, and you make girls just run away. So if you actually have girls around you, it's because they are also in the same abused, like, energy and dynamic, because they don't feel safe. But if they don't feel safe, they might as well take your money. You're getting played. Oh my god, y'all are sitting there like, yeah, I'm a baller, I'm a player, when you're getting played by the damn game. Oh, I've been so waiting for someone like you to show up on my YouTube channel. Oh, I'm thriving. I'm living. I don't understand everything, and that is okay. Oh god, you are guy. Okay, guys. All right. Again, my background and degrees in finance, accounting, and IT. I don't think you understand how stupid you sound when you try to show up in a professional environment explaining things incorrectly to people that are much smarter than you. Again, with like the crypto bro, whatever, like, it's like, I very much see you guys walking into professional environments because either you think you look good or because you nailed a girl last night. You walk up to your boss and you're demanding a raise, and your boss just wants you to shut the fuck up, but they give you the raise anyway because you've got daddy's money. I don't know, some of y'all, the only reason you're bringing money in at all is because you're part of an unsustainable system that when someone who actually knows what they're talking about comes in, it all falls apart. You guys make money off of scams and being scammed. And a lot of it's because you got this ego that you think that you know everything when you don't know anything. And it's just a whole lot easier for the rest of us that actually know what we're talking about to work around you. Yeah. Like I'm literally like I'm thinking of a distinct scenario at work that I had where I was I was working with someone who proceeded to explain the most basic thing to me and then proceed to try to show me to prove that, you know, they were smart and they were trying to guide me, and then they did the whole thing wrong in front of me. When I was like, I have professional experience in this thing. What you just did is just prove to me that I'm not going to include you in any of my projects in the future. Thank you, take care. Goodbye. You guys distract people. You don't add value with the energy that you're bringing, and you're unsuccessful in a lot of the areas of life that of the men that you're trying to emulate. Again, I just feel like you guys get so distracted by lights, the shiny car, by women. When are you gonna get grounded and grow the fuck up? I'm sorry. Like, it's okay if you don't, like, if you're in charge, you don't have to have all the answers. If you're working with a team, that's what your team's for. To fill in the blanks, to figure it out together. It's more important to be good at figuring things out than knowing everything. And I think, again, maybe you guys got made fun of for not being smart. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry genuinely if I offended you earlier, but like the point is that you guys are operating with an ego that needs cut in half. And that's why, like, I don't mind dissing you guys till the cows come home, because at the end of the day, you're only just harming yourselves by continuing this pattern and path. I hope this is being live streamed to the worlds, because goddamn, like, y'all, y'all need a reality check. Y'all don't have the money to be talking this kind of way. It's not secure money. And secure people know it. That's why they stay away from you. So take your toxic ass little boy syndrome and send it over that way. All right, my opinions aren't always necessary. Am I getting featured on a podcast or something? Like, do you guys like? Yeah, your opinions aren't always necessary. Holy shit! God damn, Wow, yeah, I don't even need to explain that card. Man, oh man. I accept that I sometimes need to hurt others to protect myself. I mean, I need to accept that I'm hurting others right now to protect myself. Damn, guys. Why are you doing this? For reals? Why do you want to be like your abuser? For real? Why are you complimenting the people that hurt you? Why are you trying to emulate somebody who the world doesn't respect? Because you have no respect. You have no self-respect. Your opinions, again, like, that my opinions aren't always necessary. Like, did someone not listen to your opinions? Do you want someone to listen to your opinions? Then stop acting a certain kind of way. It's okay, we'll listen to you when you're not talking like trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, like, what, like, why in the hell would anybody with time, money, and value and purpose want to waste their time talking about body counts and about things that aren't important in life, that don't matter in a relationship? You're asking girls and guy friends and all these other people stupid ass questions because you just want to feel seen. You want to feel like your opinion matters because you don't understand the world around you. All you are is you just want to sit and be an abusive prick because it's easier. It's easier to hurt people than to love them. It's easier to hurt than to feel. It's easier to be famous than real. Boom. Turn that into a rap, motherfuckers. If you're gonna diss on my name, do it right, bitch. Oh my god. Oh, Lord almighty. Yeah, there's just so much disappointment here. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some of you guys hurt some really great women, and you just turn them into baddies. Which I say thank you for contributing to the baddie alignment fund, by being that guy. If that's why they're saying your name, at least they're still saying it, right? I buried myself in work to forget you. Ooh, ooh, some of you guys, you're focused on talking all this shit on your podcast because you won't work on yourself. Because you want to forget the bad feelings. Which I get. You know, work does help. Working out does help, but, like, you have to work to forget. Which means you're not forgetting. Are you? Because it means something. I don't know, I just want to see you guys evolve. Like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have been suffering for generations from your own incompetence, and I can't, y'all. I'm not being nice to you. You've hurt some women, so I'm taking my frustrations out on you. I came closer than anyone. You came closer than anyone. Yeah. Yeah. Have you never had a person or a female-bodied person speak to you honestly and objectively? Something about you came. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you guys make a lot of sex jokes to be unnerving to women on purpose. You like to bother them because you don't want them to come close to you. Because it's a game, right? It's a competition to hurt people and to get close as possible and then yank everything away and be like, ha ha ha, fuck your feelings. Because you don't have any feelings, right? I'm not hurting you, right? Hang your head in shame. Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is like, I'm sorry, just because a girl hurt you in middle school and you just learn to never connect with your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and emotions again. Like, why do you not give a shit about your own opinions? If you started having better opinions, maybe you'd start listening to yourself. Clocking it. I feel you leaving me behind. Why do you guys stay in relationships where you know she's leaving you emotionally and doesn't want to be there, and you just stay? Because I used to think it was about, like, oh yeah, you're just trying to use resources and be strategic, but really, I think it's just because nobody cares about you. And you know it, because you know that you're acting like a piece of shit. And, like, there's something about, like, when you start detaching and leaving people. Like, I think there's, like, this misnomer right now where with women, they're like, well, women detach before men do. And I'm like, well, men were detached before you said the one thing that ruined the whole damn thing, right? And so I don't think you guys are used to being felt or seen or heard by girls. Maybe you're always fishing for compliments because you want what girls get. Maybe you're on the DL. I'm not here to judge you, but, like, the point is like, you want compliments from other people. You just want what girls have. You want to be able to just walk out on the street and someone gives a fuck if somebody hurts you and beats you up. Girls just exist and men want to protect them. Why weren't you protected? And, you know, I think that's a pretty valid, fair question. Because society doesn't talk about that shit. Because I don't think anyone should get beaten up. Do you? And you're like, well, sometimes. And I'll be like, okay. I mean, like, yeah, if you're robbing a bank or whatever, if you're, like being mean to grandmas and stuff. But, like, the point is like, to me, like, a lot of this stuff is based in stupid gender biased shit. And, like, with behind, I feel like you guys hate the fact that you were left behind by your family, by your exes, by all society. And so that's why you're taking it out in toxic ways. I'm just saying, this is going to hurt you down the road. It already has hurt your reputation. But you can come back too. You know, I'm pretty sure there's people praying for you, but, like, they don't know what to even say to you because you don't fucking listen. Because, again, you'd just rather deflect by being a jerk instead of taking down your walls and facing your own shit. And here's the thing, like, you don't even need to do it around your bros. You can do it with yourself, but you don't even want to be by yourself. That's the thing. You guys can't sit and be by yourselves. And that's sad. Because I thought you were men. Is that what you're trying to say? You're like, I'm supposed to sit here and respect you when you can't even stay single? I challenge you right now, here today, Stay single for 6 months, don't have sex, whatever, and see what happens to you. See where your mind's at. I look for you everywhere. Yeah! If you were over her, why are you looking for the same girls who look like her? Why are you looking at these OnlyFans models? Dummy, you think we don't know? You think the girlies don't know? Y'all are getting systematically abused. And that ain't even just coming from me. This isn't abuse, this is a reality. This is an abuse, this is a wake-up call. No matter what, you're loved so much by the universe. Yeah! So I know a lot of this stuff was harsh. So I appreciate you guys sticking around. I think after you're done laughing and crying, let's get real and say, like, no matter what, you're loved by the universe. And I want you to understand that the universe doesn't have a face. It doesn't look like a guy or a girl or whatever. It's just the universe. It's existence. And maybe y'all aren't very spiritual, I understand. But I want you to know that there is infinite love out there available to you if you want to connect to it. And for some of you guys, you're not going to give a shit. You're going to click off the video and be like, okay. But for those of you that do understand what I'm talking about, there's a lot of love available out there for you if you just set your triggers down, step away from the masses, figure yourself out, and learn a thing or two about who you are, what you want, and who do you want to become? And where are you going? Do you really want to be sad and depressed and alone around these crappy ass people? You want to be around this podcast host? No, I don't. Because if you invite me on your podcast, I'm going to do the same damn thing. I love you too much to let this go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go, Billy. Is that what you want us to think? You want us to be sitting here being like, Michael, please stop being so toxic? There's how many of you out here that we gotta weed ourselves away from. Like, you don't get that privilege of someone chasing after you because you already ruined it. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, again, women who actually want to invest in you don't want to be wasting their time fighting with you constantly. They don't want to fight with your ego. They don't, like, they love you. So they're going to let you do your own thing and be yourself. And if this is who you choose to be, then be it. But that doesn't mean they have to stick around. Stand up and fight. Yeah, what are you fighting for? You're fighting for money and recognition and insecurity. You're not fighting for anything worthwhile. To at least the rest of us. Because after a certain point, like, when does it matter to somebody else that you have money? I have hope for you guys. I like fighting. I like fighters. But when you're fighting for something that doesn't matter, what's the purpose of that? And you're like, it doesn't matter. I want to have money. And like that, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, if you want to curl up on your little safety net money couch, go for it. Because here's the thing. I like wealth accumulation, but the point is you're struggling to recognize that you're using money as a crutch so you don't have to act like a human person. You just want to fucking fight and stand up to the man. When it's like, you don't even know what the man looks like. The man looks like yourself in the mirror. You're like, I'm overcoming my demons. Whatever. But you're not overcoming anything. What are your demons? So, like, no one's answering that. You know what I mean? And nobody's given me a response that actually has told me, what have you done for the rest of us that actually contributes anything? And you're like, well, I don't care about the rest of you. And it's like, okay, then we don't have to care about you. We're at a stalemate. What does matter? Because, like, I'm going to protect my family, my kids, my business, my job, because they mean something to me. If all you have is money, like, what are you fighting for? Yourself? Fighting against the world? But, like, you don't even value yourself. Oh, shit! Remember the goal. Remember your goals, guys. Like, why did you want to become successful? Why did you want to be famous? Do you even remember? Did you have a goal? Other than, like, yeah, I have money. Well, what did you want to do with the money? I want to spend it on girls, booze, and boobs, and all this other stuff. Okay. And then what? I don't know. looking around in an empty room. All your friends left because you ran out of money. You ran out of time for them. Ran out of hope and feelings. Like, I'm sorry, like, just because you're a dude doesn't mean that dudes don't have feelings too. Men protect their feelings just as much as women do. And that's why you're not around decent men. Oh! Oh! Suck on that. Wisdom is needed now! Yeah, you guys need, like, wisdom instead of intelligence. I don't care what you know about AI or whatever IT technical things or, like, I don't know. Like, what actual practice do you have that is giving you the wisdom that you need right now? You don't. This is where spirituality comes in. This is what connects you to something beyond yourself. This is what gives you higher purpose and meaning and learning. And as long as your ego's in the way, you're not going to be able to catch up to people like me, your peers, because we're accelerating and elevating, and you're going to stay behind in your sad little bubble amongst your peers. And again, if y'all want to sit and cry about it and make fun of me and whatever, I don't care. But for those of you that are feeling something by something that I said, go seek out wisdom that resonates for you. Because here's the thing, like, I mean, I'm a human being. I'm not claiming to be God or having more better insight than other people. I mean, I in general think I do, but for you specifically in your life, though, the wisdom that you desire, go look for it. Why are you afraid to look? Because that means you gotta change? Oh no. You had to change to get famous. You had to change to be successful. Why is that scary now all of a sudden? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, y'all. But anyways, thank you guys so much for this lovely pick a card reading. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Give me your views. Yeah, let me know if it resonates. And I hope to see y'all next time. Invite me to your podcast. I'd love to sass you in person. Anyways, thank y'all, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Oh my god. Hello everyone, you have chosen pile number 4 and you got the red lighter. Yeah, I needed to. Look at the flame. Look at the flame. I don't know if you guys like going to concerts. But yeah, these are going to be your messages from the universe to you. I don't know. I feel like half of these piles have been kind of just me venting because the universe is just like, nope, we're just going to let Christian go. And my throat's a little sore because of some of the ranting, and I don't know, I feel like with this pile, maybe you guys, you're tired of fighting or yelling and shouting to get your way. Maybe you're in a rock band. There's just kind of like, I just feel like my throat is sore. You're tired of repeating yourself. You're tired of these battles. Are you tired of winning? Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Maybe you're not supposed to say things, but you do, and you get in trouble. I don't know. It's like there's something about, like, you got like a warrior fighter complex, but I think it's just getting tired. You're tired, man. You're kind of like, what's the point? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why are you still getting hurt by the things that you said you weren't going to get hurt by? I don't know. I do feel like you have, like, struggles with women because you're kind of like, I've been in this cycle over and over and over again with this person. And, like, I don't know what else you want me to do. I don't know. This feels like after the divorce, after the heartbreak, you're just kind of like, I feel like your heart broke before this person's did. Because of something that they said to you or in between you two, and I think you ghosted somebody. Yeah, I'm hearing like a rock band. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about, like, you guys are way more emotionally mature than you realize. And maybe that this person realized. I think you're used to being shut down and shut off by girls that don't believe you're emotionally intelligent. That's so fucking sad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm seeing like a cigarette or like a cigar or something. Like there's definitely just this energy of like you're not understood by women because women project a sexist lens onto you because they're like, "Oh, well you're a guy, so you don't have thoughts, feelings and opinions that matter to me." Or at least that's how you're thinking women view you, which really isn't accurate, but it is accurate to some people that you've encountered. With boy pussy, this pen has been like the theme today. Okay, it's kind of like I don't know if you've had girls that like think because you are emotionally mature, or even when you're like immature, that you're a pussy or something like that, and they're thinking, oh, he's weak, so that's why he didn't do this thing, and it's like, what is this obsession with weakness? No wonder you guys get triggered by certain aspects. Here, one sec, I gotta take my cat out. Moosey Moose. Moosey girl, come on. Go in. Yeah, um, yeah, maybe you guys get distracted because you've got a family, so you like, I don't know, I just feel like you're an adult in a world full of assholes. I mean, yeah, you can be a dick sometimes too, but like, I just feel like you're very misunderstood and you're tired. Like, you want to like scream into the void. Like, this is like the masculine rage of being like, why am I surrounded by any idiots? And why am I constantly around people that don't fucking understand me? I thought girls were supposed to be emotionally intelligent, and then every time I try to date one, they pull all this stupid shit on me. And I think you need to give women a little bit more grace, because I mean, like, I don't know how much you know about feminism. I think, like, maybe intellectually you understand things about feminism, but I don't think you guys are realizing that some of your insecurities are attracting these women, and other things are just a nature of the people that you've dated. You know what I mean? That's why, like, I want to be kind of neutral about this because there's something about you're always in your head because you get scared to connect to your heart space authentically. Ooh, yeah, I just feel like you guys you're very intellectual, but like because you intellectualize your thoughts and opinions, like every time I want to talk about my heart space, it's like, ooh, that's a deep masculine wound. Ooh, okay, okay. Yeah, there might be like a relationship with masculinity that's getting hurt here. Um yeah, there's just something about like you went and did all this cool stuff, you did all the right things, and you're like, why the fuck am I not man enough for this person? You know what I mean? Like, why don't these people understand me? You know, like, why are there no girls out there that, like, they're saying what they think and they feel, but then they have no space for me in their hearts? Aw. Yeah, Jesus Christ. This is a very mature man grief that ow, okay. Oh, I just want to send you guys so much love right now because like this is I think your concerns are quite valid. And I think part of it is you're just very frustrated because you're smart and you are very emotionally intelligent and you've just been going at it alone for a long ass time. Yeah, I don't blame you for being upset. And I don't blame you for like kind of tearing people's heads off after a certain degree because you're just kind of like, what's the point? Nobody cares. I'm a guy, so because of what I look like, because of what my body does and whatever, I can't change the fact that I'm a man. For some reason, you're saying you like men, but you don't like men. I don't know. Everything you're complaining about, I think, is pretty legit. I mean, there's things about it that I would say, like, well, there are some societal factors, but I think you guys have a genuine space in understanding that this isn't okay. And you're right, there needs to be societal changes about how women approach men. Let's get to the cards, see what they say. Oh, I didn't want to even look at it. All right, we're gonna have a manly cry together, guys. You're like, what do you mean by a manly cry? And I'm like, you're being sexist. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to myself for not being able to protect myself in that situation. I'm sorry to myself for not being able to protect myself in this situation. You're like, I heard you the first time. Oh, no. Yeah, I think you guys you're having a hard time facing grief on a deeper level because maybe you didn't know what you did wrong, or maybe you did know what you did wrong, or the fact that this is something you don't have control over, where like you respected this person and they still walked away and they still treated you that way, and you're like, am I wrong? You're questioning your reality and your headspace right now. um yeah, I kind of just want to hold space for you guys, because I don't know where you went wrong. And your spirit guide team does know, but this is part of the process of going into it, right? Because we're going to be diving into the thoughts, feelings, and emotions together, as opposed to just I'm going to give you the answer. Because there's one of the problems I think you guys are having is there's emotional steps that you take to get to these deeper, darker demons, right? And I think like you have a difficult time facing some of those aspects of yourselves because you don't. I don't know. There's something about like you don't feel like you have what it takes to address those things because you've been let go. You've been making mistakes. I don't know if you're in the middle of having a midlife crisis, or like there's just something kind of going on with y'all where you're like, I'm respectful towards women, I love women, I treat people well, I make good money, I do all these things. What the fuck am I doing wrong? And right now, I think your spirit guide saying is like, well, you're protecting yourself, or you're protecting something inside of you. And similar to what some of the other piles were dealing with, there is like that wound of trying to not be a pussy. You want to be a man, but it's also kind of like there's some internalized misogyny here. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's something to do with the fact that your relationship with women isn't what you think it is, and you think your relationship with women is tied to towards how you treat them, as opposed to who you are and what they are. And I think like you're not accepting some kind of like an existence going on here in this space. Again, I'm like feeling like, oh, I'm feeling the anxiety, so it's time to smoke. It's like, okay, take a break, pause the video, come back. Round two. I'm patiently waiting and accepting of the situation. Yeah, maybe you let go of someone that was important to you, and you're like, fuck, I messed up. Yeah, I'm seeing like your knee bouncing. You know what I mean? I'm getting like my drummer's knee, where you're just like, okay, like, I want to rush in and solve the situation like yesterday. Or like you want to fight with this person, but you're like, I can't fight, but like what, you have like this lack of patience, um, which leads to lack of discernment in certain situations. Okay. I think that's where, like, again, you're prioritizing and feeling emotionally mature and intelligent, but I think the blockage here is you're really great at understanding your inner world, but that does not equate to how your actions and behaviors are received outwardly. And so because you're not patient, you want instant results. You want this fixed right away. Like, again, I don't know if you're a leader or you're somebody who's used to getting your way a lot. I'm thinking of one of my other pick a card readings where Saint Michael, like I have my Archangel Michael statue here. In the reading, the masculine energy was always put on this pedestal where they were expected to be the breadwinner, the judge, the jury, all of the moral compasses for the people around them, right? Because they were respectable leaders, and they had wisdom. Like, and I'm not discrediting you guys' wisdom because I feel like you have a lot of masculine insight. The problem is, it's masculine insight. So if you go up to like a tarot reader, for example, or a wise woman, she has the opposite frequency of you. So when you go up to somebody that you fundamentally have not mastered those elements yourself, are you going to go up and say, for example, you're an engineer and you go up to a therapist and you try to tell a therapist how to do their job when that's not what your strong suit is? How does that make you any more wise or right when you're just two different types of people? That's where the patience comes in. Is because, again, you're used to using a modality of getting results your way instead of understanding that like, just because it's your way, you're used to your world, you being God, judge, and jury all the time. Because that's in your world. And you're so stuck on it being your world because you're afraid of the darkness that's underneath that. Right? And you're like, I don't know, you guys are the ones that struggle with the anger management where it's like, well, if I don't get my way, or if I don't do this to control the situation, then my world's gonna fall apart. And it's like, yeah, it already did. Multiple times. So who do you think the common denominator is? Sounds like someone who's listening to my reading. I achieve things to show love for myself, not others. You need to let go of this judge and jury shit. Okay? You're putting yourself on a pedestal, and then other people around you are obeying, and you're not realizing the emperor has no clothes. Or the emperor has no boundaries. Okay? Because what's happening here is, like, you're achieving things. Yeah, okay, you can achieve things. That's great. You're completely disconnected from your heart space. And you're like, yeah, okay, I think a lot of you guys are like, yeah, I am. The point is, though, is, like, you're like, well, if I continue to get hurt, what's the point? I think that's pretty valid while you're grieving things. And so maybe you're trying to achieve more to overcompensate and be like, all right, well, until I heal, I'm just going to continue on this pathway. But you're not showing love for yourself. You're not showing love for your brothers and your friends. Not others. You're only focused on you. And you're like, that's not true. And it's like, okay, when was the last time you showed up for somebody other than yourself in a way that was authentic to them? I'm not saying buying people drinks or buying people a house. I'm not talking about having intellectual discussions with people. I'm saying, like, when was the last time that you saw another person for what they are like and recognized it? If your girlfriend likes video games and you know that her favorite video game is Legend of Zelda, I've got a fucking tattoo. Why wouldn't you buy her something Legend of Zelda related? Or, if you don't want to focus on money, say, hey, I know you like Legend of Zelda. You want to play a game together? I want to watch you play Legend of Zelda. And then just sit and let her play. And be there and support her and cheer her on. That's what these people are looking for. Is you're not recognizing with that girlfriend that she likes Legend of Zelda. Because you're like, I've got to be the tone police. I have to regulate everyone around me. And that's because I'm pretty sure that you guys were around emotionally immature women that didn't have a voice, didn't speak up when you were getting hurt. So you're like, well, what's the fucking point of supporting women when they want all of my love and whatever, but they don't take a stand whenever I'm getting treated like shit? So what is the point here? And I don't think you guys are fully recognizing that. I understand you want strong, tough-ass women, but what you're not understanding is those tough-ass women have needs too. They have emotional needs, and a lot of tough-ass women, we're this way because we're around men that don't have soft spots. And we know that we're doing all the same things you guys are complaining about. Okay? And the only way that you're gonna get a softer version of a tough-ass woman is if you soften yourself to show that it's safe. You know what I mean? Like, if I know I'm going to be going to war with someone constantly, that's exhausting. To me, that's wasting time, money, and energy. Okay? Because, like, yeah, I like to fight, but there's a certain growth element to that. But after a certain point, it's a chore. You know what I mean? It's childish. Okay? And that's where the selfishness is coming in here, where you guys are really trying to play up putting yourselves up on this pedestal when the people around you are kind of like, that's kind of boyish because you're not seeking outside of yourself. And you're like, I don't know why you guys are having such a hard time with that, because it's not that you don't have empathy, it's just this lack of understanding and awareness of the women around you or the people around you. But specifically the issue seems to be women, because you're like, well, I'm a provider, I'm a man, I'm mature, and women just haven't figured it out yet. And I'm like, I'm sorry, if you're having a midlife crisis and you haven't figured women out yet, and you've only been attracting women that are I hate this term, you're like broken. It's like there's nothing wrong with the woman, there's something wrong with you and how you're approaching it. There's plenty of great women out there that are literally right now screaming trying to find great men. Some of them are my friends. I ain't showing them to a person like you. Not until you at least be able to show yourself some respect, to look outside of yourself. And I'm sure when you were younger, you probably did notice those things. And that's what I think is kind of sad. Is it's not like you guys aren't emotionally intelligent and capable of doing these things. It's because you haven't healed your heart space yet. You don't want anyone to have access to that ever again because you're afraid it's going to destroy you like it did and turn you into the person you are now. But who allowed yourself to turn yourself into this? You did. And that's what you're not acknowledging, is that you're a player in your own story. Quit smoking and drinking for 5 minutes and stop trying to check out. Feel it. It's going to hurt, it's going to suck, and then it's over. Quit holding on to the past relationships. Like, you're wounding yourself in this dynamic with another person because you're more afraid of girls and what they mean to you. Like, oh god, I think you guys are just so scared that a woman has power over you. That's the fear. Because, you know, and that's where I think, like, if you're putting women on a pedestal too, you want them to be morally superior than you, or they want to be this image or whatever, more smarter, stronger, whatever, then go date a man. Because you're going to see that nobody is out there making these unrealistic expectations reality. Okay? Take off your golden halo, step off, like, get off the throne, get off the pot, and, like, look at yourself. Be a man. Be like a human. Again, like, I was trying to say human here, like, I'm a man first, not a person. Like, you guys are so stubborn in what this view of masculinity is that it's kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. And you're like, it's not embarrassing. You don't know what you're talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. Because this level of insecurity prevents happiness. Why can't you see yourself as a person first before a man? Why does gender matter? Why is there an insecurity there? Because there's like hostility to these questions. And that should be causing you to take a look to say, well, why? Why is there hostility? If you were so strong and secure, then why is there hostility? I can follow my heart's desire without fear. You guys have so much fear and you can't acknowledge it because that's all in this dark, shadowy place that you don't want to admit that has everything to do with control. That's why you got to control the women around you. That's why you want women to look a certain kind of way, that you want to play follow the leader. You can't lead if you can't follow. Right? You got to be a follower first before you're a leader. And people just elevated you to this role because in a lot of families, it's kind of like, all right, well, he's the man, that's his job. When you go out into the world and you encounter other leaders that are stronger than you, or not, or have different skill sets than you, that doesn't make you any less of a leader. But when you get challenged, it makes you a child when you think that your way is the only best way. And you're like, well, I got results. According to whose measures? Okay, maybe you can acquire funds, you can acquire money. But what this reading is telling me is, like, you're not acquiring people that care about you. And you're like, well, people care about me. And it's like, I don't even know if that's fully true. Are you able to tell the difference between people that are using you for money or are just using your perspective to leverage themselves? If you can't sit with someone challenging you and feel comfortable in yourself and feeling like, oh, why would this woman talk to me that way? If that even comes as a flash into your head, that tells me that there's a wound in your masculinity. It's not saying that women are always right. I full-heartedly agree with that. Like, women, but the point is, though, is that women are people. Just like you're people. And both men and women make mistakes. And gender non-binary people. Like, that's the whole point where I keep pushing this non-binariness, is because, like, you guys don't understand that your views of gender and shit are made up. And you're like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. A lot of it is. Okay, guys? Because when you stop prioritizing being a person over some made up societal boundaries and limitations, you're limiting yourself. Why do you gotta be on a pedestal to feel strong? Why does your masculinity hinge on anybody else? Why does it hinge on having a family, being in control? Men don't always have control. You don't have control over the weather. I don't know, you're like, I have psychic spiritual abilities. I know things before they happen. Okay. So does a majority of the women that watch my YouTube channel and have for years. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's like watching these videos of like man discovers empathy. And it's like, yeah. And that's why I'm like, you guys aren't understanding your childhood traumas. Because like, y'all definitely were like abused. And you didn't even know it. The I'm sorry. Like, you never got an I'm sorry from people that hurt you. So, like, all of these defense mechanisms, like, all this version of you that I'm interacting with right now, like, I totally get it. I've been there. I've worked through these demons myself. And that's why I'm speaking to you now this way, because change is going to be necessary if you want to attract the things that are authentic to you. Because if you can't face your heart space, if you can't let go of your ego, you're not getting the girl of your dreams. I'm sorry. And you're like, and I mean, like, whatever girl that you have in your head right now, let go of that image. Because right now, that image is not real. That is not that person. That is not the time they're currently living in right now. Again, this image in your head, the fact that you're using an image and not that person is exactly what the problem is. Of why you're not living the lifestyle that you need. Instead of whatever you're doing right now. I don't need to be perfect to deserve love. What happens to you when you cry? And you're like, well, I don't cry. What would happen if you cried in front of your mom when you were a kid? Did you get beat? Did you get laughed at? Were you told those emotions? Like, you're afraid to cry. Why would you be afraid to cry if that's like a base level human emotion? Because you're a man. Men don't cry. Yeah, they do. You're like, well, only weak men cry. And it's like, well, here's the thing. Your tears release cortisol. Or sorry, they reduce cortisol levels, which is stress hormones. Regardless of what your stupid societal image is, because it is stupid, you need to be able to regulate your body. Okay? And you can't regulate your body when you're not allowing it to act the way it needs to self-regulate. And this is where all of this stuff breaks down. Is you're trying to act like you're in control when you're actually acting out of fear and a projection. You're trying to protect an image that doesn't exist. It's what society taught you. It's what people worship, but that doesn't mean it's you. It doesn't mean it's real. You know what I mean? Because, like, some of the toughest people I know, like, they watch rom-coms. They don't get upset when someone implies that they're emasculated or whatever, because they're secure in themselves. They don't give a shit what other men think. They don't give a shit what other people think. You know? And people love them for it. It's kind of like the whole idea, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of, like, some of the toxic masculinity I grew up around. It was like, men can't say the word cute. And you're like, why? It's like, because it's the association of, if I say the word cute as a man, I'm a wuss. I have to find an alternative word. That's how, like, the amount of control other people have over you is very, like, emasculating and makes you delicate and easy to control. Maybe you guys were in the military or there's, like, a systematic thing, but, like, I don't think you guys understand that a lot of this logical fallacy going on is intentional to influence you to support an image, a golden cow, that doesn't exist. It exists in people's minds. You think you're like, well, we're always going to strive closer to perfection. The only thing that is perfection is God. And your image of God is an image of you. It's the masculine ego. And so this is where the spiritual ego death kicks in, right? Because, and a lot of male spiritual leaders and stuff, like, they talk about this stuff all the time. But there's a reason why the women's perspective is not included. we have a different perspective on these things. We have a different version of ego and whatever. And it's taken me a fucking long time to figure out that the messages were getting misconstrued. Because it's all coming from a masculine ego that does not include the feminine perspective. It's not until you remove that ego that you can even see it. And for me, I know both of us, we're tired. We're tired of fighting. Tired of not seeing eye to eye. Why can't you just follow for a bit? Isn't that what spirituality is all about in all these major religions? You're supposed to follow God, a force bigger than yourself. But then you're talking to a spiritual practitioner who did that, found peace and happiness by themselves first, and then they're going out and spreading all that joy. When did you do that? When did you have your ego death and give up your life to go follow God? I did. But then you're going to sit here and tell me that you know better? I mean, like, God will show different faces of themselves to whoever. But, like, if you're an atheist, if you're, like, whatever, it's like, it's still the same problem. There's still an ego. And you're not looking at things beyond yourself. And maybe you don't know how, because you gotta break this image of who you thought you were. Or who you're supposed to be for other people. Because to me, I think you're perfect as you are. You know? But, and then they're like, well, if I didn't need to change, then why are you telling me all this stuff? This is what Spirit's telling you. Because you haven't reached that level yet to understand what that even means. And that's okay. Because, like, I was there too. You'll get there. Does this feel safe? Do you guys even ask yourselves that question? Like, well, nobody cares if men feel safe because we're the ones that are dealing with all the problems. That's fair. Yeah, we're getting into the deep societal questions. Maybe you guys are really deep thinkers. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you deserve love. And I don't think you know what that looks like for men. Because, like, you're still allowed to value yourself. Like, obviously, self-sacrifice is very glorified in culture. But to me, like, especially, like, for example, if we were partners, right, and we had a child, if you wanted to run off and join a war or go start a war that will then hurt our child. Like, I don't want to raise my child without a father. And you're like, well, you'll find another guy. You're making this about yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? You're not making it about your family. You're not protecting your family by going to war, if that's your rationale. This is like the like what we're discussing, guys, pile number 4. This is like the age-old thing here between the masculine and the feminine, right? Is it's like, are you really trying to keep your family safe by acting this way, or are you keeping yourself safe? Do you want to go live out your glory days? Do you want to create more babies so that way I can spread good on the world? Are you... Like, why do you think you're the only one that knows what good looks like? And then whatever that answer is, that will tell you more about yourself and your shadows. And I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, but I'm saying you're not asking why. You're not asking you're not questioning it. And that's what Spirit's trying to point out. Is, again, the purpose of this reading is to get you to acknowledge something that you're not facing. Now, how you come out of that conclusion's fine. Like, that's fine by me. Like, we can debate and whatever, but the point is that you need to get to a certain level first before you can start having these questions with this person. Distract yourself for a bit. It'll figure itself out. I think you guys just keep telling yourselves that. Like, why are you distracting yourselves, staying up late, watching movies and TV, and, like... I don't know, maybe you guys are just in a slump. Like, you think, like, time's just gonna keep moving forward and eventually it's gonna work itself out. Like, it's not. You can't just, like, wait this situation out with this person. This person's moving forward, with or without you. Life is moving on, with or without you. And it's okay to take a rest, of course. But this isn't resting. This is you refusing to figure things out for yourself. That's what your spirit guide... That's your job. Because... when you were put on a pedestal, it was an artificial pedestal. Now we're separating the men from the boys. And they're like, you don't know what that means. I absolutely do know what that means. It means that when you let go of your ego and you start looking
or when you stop looking at goodness as moral brownie points that support you. Like, there's something about, like, I don't think you guys understand, especially like from the men's perspective. You guys gain power and influence and money by following a credo that other people have artificially set. So you don't have an incentive of how to, or have a gauge of how to live life if that has not been stripped from you. Because, yeah, of course you're going to be good. Because it gives you validation. It gives you approval. Especially around, if you've got women, or especially toxic women, that don't think for themselves, that don't take care of themselves, they're going to feed into this. But I'm going to challenge you that if you gave up the stability that you had and built yourself back up from the ground up, and you're like, well, I already built myself from the ground up. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm going to tell you that right now, because you wouldn't have this big of an ego, and you wouldn't be so focused on morality and making judgments towards other people if you didn't build yourself back up. If you didn't go through the death cycle. If you didn't harm someone in that relationship. Because for a couple of you, that I'm distinctly speaking loudly, you don't even understand why someone's upset at you. Because you are so full of yourself that you believe you'll do nothing wrong. That, oh, well, I'm like wise, and they're going to come around and they're going to see that I'm right. It's not about right or wrong. The point is that you hurt somebody, and you're not owning that. Because you think being hurt is about morality. Like, to me, I'm like, what are you doing? Stop grieving something that has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Some of you guys, you got a really skewed perspective of maybe another person or a situation, and I'm like, I don't even know if the words I'm saying are going through. You got slow down. Yeah, slow the fuck down. Stop trying to be the best. Stop trying all this self-improvement bullshit, because right now, it's just dudes that are making money off of you, and sometimes you do have good perspectives from your friends, but right now, you're not focused on you. That's very clear. I think if you took care of yourself more emotionally, focused on creating and bringing in safety into your life, I think that would help you slow down and feel better. So when I say safety, I'm not talking about just like making sure people aren't coming up and beating you up, because I don't think that's a problem in your life, but it could be. I'm talking about financial security, emotional safety, so like you should be able to express your thoughts, feelings, and opinions without feeling like you're a pussy or a dick or whatever. Which, you know, therapy would probably be the best bet before bringing in a partner or spouse. Looking at your environment and saying like, okay, do I have running water? Do I have an environment that makes me feel good? I'm not talking about like, well, I have the bare necessities. No. Elevate. Y'all are intellectuals. If you could have the best living situation possible that makes you feel comfortable and safe, do you have that? I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, no. Like, do you want to have decorations? Do you want to have soft fabrics? Maybe you can't afford it right now, okay, but like, you see what I'm saying? You're not investing in taking care of yourself. Because you're like, well, that's what my mother's job was, but I'm a man. That's stupid. And to me, that is just showing a lack of safety in your childhood. Because your parents should have been attentive to your needs. Doesn't matter if you're a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can like having nice sheets and a comfy bed. You don't need to tough it out when it hurts you or when it's not good for you. Like what? Like why do you dismiss your likes? Because you're trying to live up to an image that's not you, and it's not real. Okay. And why do you want to be around women that worships a false idol? I'm just saying. Stop listening to bad advice. Right? Why would you ask for dating advice from someone who's been divorced and continues to be around people that you don't like? There's something in the background that's always there that you're listening to, and it's looping over and over and over again. And it's just the same bad advice. Are you only listening to your own advice? Are you listening to advice from that applied to a different situation? Because some of you guys, you're listening to advice from a scenario that was very specific to one thing over here, Maybe I talked to you and it was like, I gave you advice on one thing that applied to this situation. You include another element, the whole nature of the game changes. Like, come on, guys. You're intellectual. Why does this time, regarding your heart space, why does it cause you to open up and feel things? Because you're not dumb. You know what you're doing. But when it comes to matters of the heart, you don't act and operate the same way. You're not objective with yourself. You're not compassionate with yourself. Don't tell me you're compassionate with women and the woman that you love, but then you're not showing it to yourselves. Because then that just tells me you don't know what it's like to feel loved. Because if you can't be loved by you, then why? I don't want to be loved by you. Duh. I don't react when people mention you. Yeah, people don't want to talk about you. We need to let each other go. I know I messed up everything. Is this y'all? Like, spirits just, like, come clean. You need each other. But you're not letting things go. You want to stay stuck in this conversation? Fine. I just feel like whenever this person comes back to talk to you each and every time, it's the same damn thing. And so they stop listening to you. Because, like, you continue to be like, well, I'm waiting. Like you're, like, sitting there, you're so stubborn, you're like, I'm waiting out the war. Because eventually they're going to come around. Instead, they just stop coming around. You know what I mean? Like, just because someone's a woman doesn't mean that they don't have boundaries in time, money, and energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. There's, like, this misogynistic, like, you think I don't have a company to run and a business to run? I don't have experience. I don't have intellectualism that's clearly not as superior as yours. I'm not fucking stupid. And because your ego is getting in the way, you're like, well, I don't think Christian's stupid, or I don't think this person's stupid, but your ego's getting in the way, and that's how this person's feeling and reacting. You're like, oh, you think I'm dumb? No thanks. I'm not messing with an ego that large. Again, stop and listen to what they're saying. Like, you're hearing, but you're not listening. You're not engaging in a way. Like I said, back to the example of the Legend of Zelda thing. If you dated a girl and you can't remember the details of things that she likes, you only remember what she did for you, but you don't remember specific details about her, then why the fuck do you deserve the love of your life? She's not gonna want to be treated that way. You don't even remember her birthday. But I achieved things. That has everything to do with you, not the people who love you. You can't even remember your girlfriend's favorite song. You can't remember her favorite band. You can't remember the first time that you guys messaged each other. And you're like, I remember those things. I'm like, okay, start there. But if you can't own that you messed everything up, like, don't come back. You know what I mean? Like, don't be doing this shit. We've got Four of Pentacles in reverse. The Knight of Swords upright. The Eight of Cups in reverse. You got Death in reverse. So, I don't know, like, I'm hearing, like, the death of intellectualism. But, like, it's not what you think it is. So, with the Knight of Swords, that's giving me hope. Because it's like, there's very clear communication between either you and this other person. And I think that, like, you're learning how to communicate better. So, for example, all the stuff I just said, if that was not your intention of how you wanted to come across to this person, or in situations, then you need to stop. And as I said, get rid of the bad advice that you were given in your head. Remove it. When you start honing your sword and start communicating your values and your belief systems better, you're going to get different results. Okay? Speak in a different language and you'll get different results. With the goose here, like, I'm just seeing this energy of, like, got your goose. You know what I mean? Quit with the winning thing or being right. You can disagree, but I feel like to you guys, if you disagree with someone, you're like, well, they're just wrong, instead of we're just disagreeing. And it's like, you gotta, like, get off the pedestal a little bit. Face your ego. The Four of Pentacles, I think you gotta let go of some of your money issues or money troubles, because I think like you guys, either you hoard wealth to yourself or you hoard knowledge to yourself and you're not sharing it with your friends or family because you think they can't handle it, or like you got this like weird attitude that like I don't know if you think you're smarter than people around you when it's really just your ego getting in the way of your being smart. Um but like you're holding on to money and ideas and things that don't serve you. You know what I mean? Like if you got money, invest in people, invest in something. The money will come back to you or things will come back to you. You know? Like I don't know why you're like I feel like you're safeguarding for a rainy day, but you're just making an excuse not to help people that you care about. I don't know, I'm thinking about my dad a little bit. Where it's kind of like you're sitting there acting like you don't have money when it's like you guys have way more resources than a majority of other people out there, especially Americans right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm just sitting here like cry me a river about not having money or security or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like, you guys don't know the kind of privileges you guys have. I don't know, maybe you guys get triggered by white privilege, but it's giving me that vibe of just being entitled and you have no idea what that even looks like. Because you have no concept of what the rest of the world does. And you don't care. Because you never ask. Do you even ask what your girlfriend does every day? Do you care about the little things? And they're like, this is insulting. It's offensive. And I'm like, this is the vibe that the women in your life have been asking. And you just not met someone vocal enough to say it to your face. Well, I'm not saying it to your face. You're getting on a tarot reading, so we can have a discussion about it. But it's like you gotta stop with the complaining about girls, because like this is all kind of on you. To reflect and to quit deflecting. The Eight of Cups in reverse. There's something like I'm getting like this shark energy from one of the other readings, the anglerfish. Yeah, like I think you guys are not acknowledging that people know that you're a shark under the surface. You know what I mean? And I think that's where like the whole fighting your demon shit, like we all got demons, but like you want to fight other people and you're not afraid to like go on this conquering warpath, but then you're asking yourself, why don't girls like me? Well, if you act like an asshole, we're not going to want to be nice to you. We're not going to show you the best version of ourselves. Until you learn to hone in your femininity and stop cutting her down within yourself. You're like, I don't have an inner woman. Yeah, you do. You're like, I'm pure masculine. No, you're not. We are all joined between both our men and women. And until you balance those two things out, you're going to continue to get bad advice. You know what I mean? Like, you want to go listen to other misogynists? Fine. Stay in your cycle. I don't care. That's what I'm saying, is like there's just so much, like, you keep bringing walls up to problems and not asking why there's a wall. You ask me questions because you want to fight with me? You want to convince me to be something different than I am? I don't have to engage it with you. And I'm not going to listen to you. Not until you get off your pedestal. And you're like, well, you need to get off of your pedestal. I'm like, well, then we're both wrong, right? Maybe we should both get off our pedestals and see each other more clearly. But this is spirit talking. This isn't me. With death in reverse, there's something about you need to come back to life. Like, you need to get out of this death energy and focus on what brings you joy and happiness again. Because I think you're missing out on the joys of everyday living. Again, because you're not doing that self-care. Like, start doing some positive affirmations. If you know Tony Robbins, he does like this thing in the morning where he's like jumping around and hyping himself up. I think I just need to like be a little more joyful. And I think it's gonna get you out of this ego space and a little bit more like energy, and it has nothing to do with relationships or people. It's gonna you just need to bring yourself back to joy again. Integrating things like go watch a movie with your kid, or like if you love cars growing up, go to a car show. You know what I mean? Or go look up like, you know, Use some of your money to go donate to a charity or volunteer at like a pet shelter or something like that if you like animals. You know what I mean? It's just like things like do little self-care things for yourself that have nothing to do with like gendered stuff. You know, and don't do it because you want to feel like a good person. Do it because you want to just do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you stop trying to be self righteous and just be a human for a little bit, you're going to start realizing what you've been doing because you have been, again, and I'm going to say this right now because, again, you probably felt very attacked by this reading, so I appreciate you guys hanging out so far. A lot of it is because other people have put this pressure on you. Now, let's look at it from this angle. You guys are probably powerful. You have money. You came probably from a Western society, for a lot of you guys. And so, like, the entitlement and all this other stuff is you guys are not used to being checked. Okay? There's a lot of systemic stuff that is changing, and you don't like that because you believe that you're morally right or whatever instead of observing what's going on around you because you're only focused on you. And a lot of that is a trauma response, if I'm being perfectly honest. You're like, what do you mean trauma? And it's like, well, here's the thing. When you're a leader, if you are the person that had to take care of yourself as a kid, right? Which I think for a couple of you guys, it's like, yeah, your dad was shit. Or, you know, there was instability in the family, so you had to grow up really fast and you had to be the man of the house. Here's the thing. You taught yourself how to be a man. And maybe society did. But there's a lot of people that don't know how to be men. And so what's happening here is you are trying to support yourself, support other people around you, when you don't have a solid foundation underneath. If I took my sword and cut you in the right way, you would fall to pieces. Okay? And that's what Spirit's saying. That's not Christian, that's Spirit. Spirit is like, if you want to experience that ego death, we can arrange that. So you can see how that process goes about. Because right now, if your foundation is not solid and not building your strength, you can't see God when there's no foundation. Okay? And that's not your fault, because obviously you grew up the way that you did. However, it is your responsibility to go back and address and heal those wounds. Address your roots, because that's where the bad seed is. Okay? And focusing on like the superiority complex, that is not making you in alignment with spiritual divinity. It's an aspect of human existence, but that's not divine. And you're protecting yourself by saying things are spiritual when they're not. It's ego. So experience your ego death and then come back and tell me about it later. You got divine feminine. Ooh. She's a showstopper. Yeah, again, like there's just something about like, I don't know if you like injected yourself into a woman's life or you tried to like it's kind of like, it's giving me the vibe of like you're trying to tell women what women are like when you don't have a good concept of femininity in your life. Were you like an only child, or maybe you were around dysfunctional women? And so then, again, because you have power and money and this image, you're only attracting people that like that image. When you're around a person that either opposes the image or they don't fall in line, you fluster. Be honest, you get flustered because you don't know what to do. And so instead of paying attention to those feelings, you lash out at them. Because you want to control everything, because you think you're right. The feminine doesn't care. We all know what you've been doing for ages. You know what I mean? We're waiting for this ego death thing so we can actually start having a conversation. Because female ego death is different. And specifically, I'm just seeing like there's just this really gorgeous, beautiful woman who's just living her life. And she just doesn't care about the things you care about. You know what I mean? Like, again, with like the whole like accomplishing things or whatever, she's like, everything that you're putting on a pedestal isn't divine. So I don't want you, and I don't want what you're giving with it. And you're never going to have this person until you go through that ego death. I'm just saying. There's just too much intellectualism. You're thinking it's because you're smart, and it's like you're not as smart as you think. as I don't know if it was you guys or a different pile, but I was literally talking about how like there was someone at, so like my background's in finance, accounting, and IT and data analytics, and I was having someone at work explain a very basic thing incorrectly to me after I'd said like, oh yeah, well I've worked with this before, and like, you know, I have a job experience of like, I know what a macro is, I know what like this programming thing is, and then they proceeded to like explain things to me like I had no idea of what I was talking about. And like to me, I'm like, and then that person sitting there feeling smart. That's what you guys are, or that in that energy where it's like you can't accept and admit when someone is more powerful than you. That isn't a guy, or maybe not more powerful, but like it's like, yeah, like why? And like you do this to other groups of people too. You act like you've got this better view of the world when they have a much different perspective than you. And like again, you're trying to argue and fight that like, well, they don't understand me. They understand you just fine. They have to live their whole lives trying to avoid people like you and everyone else who worships you. Oh yeah, you're we're getting into the white privilege now. Recognition, yeah. Maybe you guys recognize your divine feminine. Maybe you found your counterpart. You want to have this balanced energy, but you need this balanced energy within yourself first. I keep hearing like quit smoking, and it's just like it's not about the smoking. You know what I mean? It's about you not recognizing yourself in another person. You don't value your vulnerability. You don't value your feelings. You value being a man over being a person. Maybe you're with a girl that values being a woman over being a person. Maybe you don't know what's going on. Own that. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to have everything figured out. You see right there. It's like, okay, like, you can be a powerful leader and not know what the fuck. Because here's the thing, it's like, there's the image you put out to the crowd, and then you come back in and go, what the fuck was that? You don't know how many times, like, when you're in discussions with management, you know what I mean? Like, we all know, we're all human beings, but then you develop over time and grow. Maybe seek out some better mentors as well, because there's something about, like, just relating with other people, it's not clicking. Mirroring, yeah. Your intellectualism, like you're in an echo chamber right now because you cut out anybody that doesn't agree with you, and that doesn't that creates an echo chamber. And you're like, no, I like to listen to different perspectives. Shut the fuck up. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's what everyone in the back is saying. Because a piece of you, a very stubborn, insecure piece of you, is protecting you, and it's because you don't want to look like a fool. You always have to be right. Why? Does your survival depend on it? Does your ego depend on it? What's the excuse? How do I handle being wrong? How do I handle being right? What do other people think about me? And how did they react? When was the last time you reflected and cared? Because I'm sorry, like if some person who you value and respect, especially if like it's a woman, comes up and tells you something, and you're like, well, I'm the exception. Why? You think I don't have this same ass discussion with a bunch of these intellectual guys that I'm tired, I'm done? You know what I mean? And they're like, oh well, maybe that's you projecting, and they're like, maybe a little bit, but there's a certain point where it gets exhausting trying to justify that you're a person to someone who is intending on or intent on saying I'm always correct and you're wrong. And it's like, nope, my existence isn't wrong. Your version of what my existence is wrong. And you're just saying you don't love me. That's all it's saying. You're saying you don't love women because that's not what women are. And we're just giving up on trying to pretend. And again, there's like a lot of like, I don't think you guys are already, I'm thinking of like Dolly Parton. Like you guys are the ones that don't realize that Dolly Parton's hair is fake. Some of you do, but like there's like, it's the same thing where it's like you guys fall for the same feminine lens because you don't want to actually see what women are actually like. Because you want the fantasy and the fairy tale because it's rooted in childhood. We got judgment. Yeah, you just want to walk around blind. Hey, look at this blindfolded. All the black and white symmetry. Yeah, you see the world in black and white when there's a lot of nuance in gray. There's a lot more hope than what you guys are thinking too. I feel like you guys, like, you create your own depressed depression cycle because you want the world to obey a version of you that you just can't give up on for some reason. Doubt. Quit doubting yourself. I don't know. I'm seeing with this moon over the water. I'm thinking of speaking of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. There's a giant evil moon sitting over this town, and you have to save the town in 3 days, otherwise it's going to get destroyed. You just got this perpetual, like, doomsday, like, we're all gonna die, like, I know what people are doing behind the scenes, and blah, 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 and, like, I just know more about the universe because I'm spiritual. No, you don't. You're not God. Okay? You're not. You don't see everything. Nobody sees everything. And I'm sorry, like, just this level of doubt you have in yourself, in your intellectualism. Yeah, again, there's just something going on in your ego space that has nothing to do with being smart and has everything to do with not wanting to feel. Maybe if you start feeling again, you'd be able to acknowledge what's hurting you. Let them lie. They don't need our truth. You're mine and mine only. That's like a message from Spirit where it's like, you know what? If other people want to lie about what divinity is, then let them lie. They don't need divine truth. You don't have to go out there and preach to the world that your worldview is superior. That has nothing to do with spirit and spirituality. Your relationship with the divine is yours. I'm going to have my relationship with the divine, and I'm going to continue to go my way. But that doesn't mean you can't have yours. It means we're maybe not in alignment, but that's the whole ego issue that's going on here, is you think that you get to possess a person or the divine feminine because that's yours. We're not objects. We're people. And it again, that just, it gives me this child energy of like, well, if I can't have her, then nobody can, because I'm the best for her. Okay, and then, like, years down the road, maybe she does find someone that's better for her than you. Based off of this energy, that's kind of the lie you're telling yourself right now, is because you don't want to face the rejection. You don't want to face the heat of growing and changing. And you're keeping your truth separate from yourself. Because instead of saying, this hurt me, you're hiding that pain away and categorizing it and stuffing it in places where it doesn't belong. Like, your relationship problems should not be bleeding out into your work environment. Your problems of intellectualism and spiraling and spinning should not be impacting your relationships. I mean, yeah, you can sit and debate with people, but, like, if you're sitting there starting to say stupid shit and, like, not using your head, why do you think you belong to anybody when you're hurting people? People don't want to belong to you and vice versa. That's why it's like the only person that you're always fully, indefinitely connected to is Source, God, whatever. That is the number one infinite connection here. And until you start prioritizing that connection with the universe, it's going to bleed out in all these other ways, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something to fill that void and connect to that's bigger than you. Because you don't know how to connect outside of yourself. And that's where Source comes in. And again, women have a different relationship with Source. And it's like trying to intellectualize. Like, for me, I'm a professional tarot reader, right? Like, I have enough experience and I've got enough people to back my credibility, okay? And because I connect to spirit in a certain kind of way, doesn't mean that because you connect to spirit in a different kind of way, doesn't mean that my method's wrong and yours is right. It's not. We approach it differently in our bodies. You know what I mean? And so, like, there was, like, this stupid-ass thing that I saw on Facebook one time. This is reminding me of it. I'm going on a rant now. Where someone was like, well, I heard from my mentor that I can't read tarot cards when I'm on my period. You know what I mean? Like, it gives that energy of, like, we're like, who told you that? Did a guy tell you that? Because men are the only, you know, they seem to have this idea that they know more about menstruation than women do. And, like, it just causes more harm when we focus on these gender things and possessiveness and control instead of just saying, hey, I think that a person who is qualified for something should do it. I don't have insecurity about my gender. That's why I'm non binary. But clearly, y'all do if that triggers you. And they're like, what does non binary look like? And I'm like, let me tell you. All right. It's hard to say I'm sorry when I'm so in love with you. You didn't deserve this sadness. You guys can't admit when you hurt people because you're disappointed in yourself. And that's, again, all of this gets rooted down to what is known as patriarchy. And the fact that right now it's really hard to live up to an unrealistic expectation that everyone is following that has nothing to do with who you actually are and your truth. And you're like, I'm so in love, that's why I did this. No, you weren't. Because people who love each other listen. And like saying you're sorry doesn't change it. You know what I mean? Because you're not sorry. You're used to just repeating because you think women don't listen to you. When we do. Just because you choose women that don't listen to you is not our problem. And then, like, now it gets to sadness, right? Because now I feel like all of these pieces are getting fractured apart. And, like, what did you think feminism was about? You know what I mean? We're about removing the golden calf. Okay? And I'm not saying all feminists are the same because there's a lot of messed up things. But it's like, the point is like, there's this energy that needs to be broken that's tied into masculine sadness within their own egos. You guys created this pedestal that you want to be, and it has nothing to do with what women want you to be. Now, there are women that go along with it, but a lot of those women don't think independently. They want to worship the idol, and then they want to worship you. And so if you want a woman that doesn't worship you that way, and you're asking yourself, well, why doesn't this girl like me? And you're continuing to blame it on the fact that it's because she's a woman, that's just you going back to the golden calf. You're in your own echo chamber. And I don't know. I don't even know if my words are making sense to y'all, because it's like, it feels like it's just heartbreak. Oh, look at that. You're stuck in my mind like heartbreak. You broke me open. When women are hurt, does that hurt you? Or do you just say they're broken? You're focusing on the pain that women cause you instead of looking at all things in the situation. There's no consequences to you guys, because if you've got an army of people that are worshiping you, no one's checking your ego. And so if someone comes up to you and says the emperor has no clothes, well, yeah, of course you're going to be upset. But maybe if you separate from all these think tanks and intellectualism and start just enjoying your day and start treating yourself better and not like shit, then you'd be able to feel your broken heart. And then you wouldn't need a pedestal to stand on. You're allowed to be hurt. I mean, bad things happen to you guys, clearly. And it's not that you're bad people, and it's not that all these other things. You just don't want to admit that you're hurt. You don't want to take the armor off. And it's like, well, if you don't put gauze on your wound, you're going to bleed out. And you'd rather bleed out than heal. And where's the honor in that? You're sitting there saying, oh, I want this girlfriend, and blah, 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 but you're bleeding out. How does that make any sense? You can't date the woman of your dreams if you're dead. You can't date the woman of your dreams if you're strung out on the floor. You can't find happiness in a woman until you find happiness in yourself, because then it never was about the woman. Okay? And I want to release you guys from that, because it's like, that's not loving women when you're just externalizing all your pain onto her. because all that's projection. It's the stillness in your heart that sets me on fire. Yeah. Be still and be one with God for a bit. Okay, guys? Stop intellectualizing God and figuring, like, I figured out the ways of the universe and blah, blah, blah. No, you don't, and you never will. So enjoy that. Enjoy the fact that you don't need the burden of knowing everything. Because you know where that comes from? Childhood trauma. Because when you were a little boy and you had to raise yourself, it was because of the fact that you were doing it yourself, so you had to do everything for yourself. But that's not normal. That's not how it's supposed to be. So if you want to play judge and jury and God and all this stuff, if you want to play God, go play God. But like everybody else knows you're not God. So relax. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be everyone's judge and jury. And even if you have a job that's required, I think a lot of you guys don't. Because people who actually work in those industries that actually have that kind of power have a very different mindset because they experience ego death way earlier on in their career. Or they don't feel anything at all. Not like y'all. Don't worry, it's my love you're feeling. Yeah, somebody loves you guys. But like, there's something about like, it's my love. You think your love is more valuable than everybody else's? Why? You really think there's no one else in the world that's not experiencing the same things that you are? This is a collective message. That means more than one person's going to be clicking this pile. I felt this. And so if I've felt this before, that means you felt it. That means there's two of us. Duh. Let me touch the pain away. I want you. Yeah, stop using sex to justify your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Some of you guys, you are either hypersexual. You don't represent the epitome of masculine sexuality because it's a spectrum. I think you don't realize other men's sexualities and sexual preferences because it's like there's like a lot of like shame in masculine sexuality and authenticity, especially like for example, if you can't be vulnerable, that means you're doing sex wrong. Probably. Especially if you're a spiritual person. Because if you can't connect to your vulnerability, then that means when you're with your partner and you're having sex with a partner that is spiritually open, you're gonna deposit a lot of your nasty ass gunk into that woman. And she's gonna know about it. And then she's gonna have to clear everything out, and it's like, it's gross. On top of it, like, you know, women sense a lot because that's a very vulnerable, intimate experience. So we know things about you when we have sex with you. And you guys don't know about it. And to me, it's just kind of like, you can't just fight this person and cuddle them afterwards and everything's gonna be okay. Like, why? You know what you're doing. And you don't want to get out of the cycle because you think, I'm just gonna, like, it's like the war of attrition, right? You're just like, we'll just wear them down. And it's like, wearing somebody down, that's an abuse tactic, guys. That's like for warfare. You don't want that with your partner. You're like, well, love is war. And I'll be like, well, then enjoy dating douchebags? I won't hold back loving you, babe. Yeah, again, I feel like you guys are like, I'm a fighter, I'm gonna fight for my love and blah blah blah. And it's like, you are fighting for an image of love that has, like, this person didn't consent to your version of love. It has nothing, like, your version of love has nothing to do with including the other person's actual reality. So how are you supposed to connect with somebody when it's not real? I see that word babe again. I'm like, ugh, I hate that word. Ew, I don't like that pet name. Life isn't living if you aren't by my side. Okay, the reason why I don't like that pet name, okay, just coming back to that, is because it's so generic. Everybody uses the word babe. It's so that way whenever you move on to the next person, you don't have to worry about screwing up your pet names when you forget who you're with. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, don't sit there and pretend like you don't know about all this misogynistic bullshit that's happening around you, and you do nothing about it. You don't call your friends out when they say misogynistic stuff. And they're like, well, you don't call TERFs out. And I was like, I will. I'll start. Life isn't living if you aren't by my side. Yeah, you guys need to stop. Stop with the helplessness. Go on your journey, live your life. Your woman is going to come along. You're going to get married and have your kids, but is that really what you're looking for? It's what your ego's looking for. But what's your heart telling you? Yeah, this was a long message, but I'm glad we had this conversation. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment down below if you resonated with this. If you would like to talk about this with me, nah, I'm not really feeling it for this pile because I feel like you guys gotta work on yourselves before I can have a conversation with you because I'm gonna short out and. Yeah. Yep, I'm tired. We're both tired, man. But we're working on it. That's why we're here. Keep the faith. Anyways, send you all a lot of love, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye.